And yes, we are live. Hello, everyone. I'm Chip. I'm that Chip guy. I have with me Crystal Heath, DVM, Doctor of
Hello.
Veterinary Medicine.
Nice to see y'all. Thanks for having me.
Is DVM short for Doctor of Veterinary Medicine?
Yeah.
Do you have to have a doctorate for that, or is it like just a thing that you get even if you finish like veterinary school?
I think it's different in different countries. I actually think in like the UK, you're not automatically a doctor. Like they have a Bachelor of Veterinary Science or something like that. But in the United
Oh,
States, you get your bachelor's degree usually, and then you do another 4 years of veterinary school. Where I think in the UK, sometimes there's these like 5 or 6 year programs where you go into right after high school or whatever. So it's
and
a bit different.
so if you finish veterinary school in US, you do an exam, right? Like which is like 8 exams, if I'm not mistaken.
There's
Malpractice.
one North American veterinary licensing exam that you do, and that's national. But then, if you want to be licensed in a specific state, you need to take a
You also have to do
licensing
that.
exam in each state. So I'm licensed in Florida and California. So yeah, I'm thinking about getting licensed in Puerto Rico too, because there's a need there. And
Yeah.
different states are easier to get licensed in than others, but you do have to go through a whole process depending on which state.
Yeah, I also heard that like there is this, well, my sister's a veterinarian in US,
Yeah.
so she showed me that there's an app where you can see where they require veterinarians, and essentially there's just so
Yeah.
much demand all across US for veterinarians, right?
Yeah. I don't know if she's talking about the Roo app, but it's crazy. Like some of the like what they're paying per day for
Yeah,
veterinarians
yeah.
on that. I don't know if she showed you some of those, but it's
Yeah, I
like
saw that.
absolutely insane. I Yeah, it's a good career, and I highly recommend if you're an animal rights activist, become a veterinarian because I can like literally work 2-3 days a week and then spend the rest of my time doing activism stuff. And I love my job, and I really, when I do work 2-3 days a week, I work like 4 or 5 hours a day, and that's it. And it's great, and I help a lot of animals. So
Is it
you
too
know,
late? What's the latest age you can become a veterinarian? I'm 38. Is it too late to start now?
no, I don't think so, but you will have to take, 4 years off of whatever you're doing because
Ah,
it is kind of a full-time deal. I did have a business while I was in vet school that like was an online business. And I probably could have done better at that. So if you've got some sort of online gig where you could like make some passive income, that's helpful. But I think I've heard stories of people who were like 60 years old in vet school. So it's totally doable, I think. Um, yeah.
that's
Where did your sister go to vet school?
Oh, in Romania she did it, and then she had to do
Okay.
the exams to be able to
Yeah.
practice in US. Yeah,
That's a hardcore deal like that because you have to do those practical things and they love to fail people. Although Romania, they love to fail people from brown countries. So they'll do trick things like if you're brown, legit, not this is a real thing. There's racism. They don't want brown people to become vets. They'll like slap, like you're all gowned up or something, and then they'll slap you on your back and say, "Good luck, doc." And when they slap you on the back, they've just contaminated you. And so you're supposed to regown, which is stupid because as veterinarians, you have a dog waiting under anesthesia for you to go operate on, and time is trauma. They're under anesthesia. In the normal world, if somebody slaps you on the back, it doesn't matter because your back is to the animal. It's your front that matters. So
yeah,
your front's sterile. You would just do the surgery, but we're just all playing this little game. You'd have to ungown when nobody in the actual real world would do that. So
but they don't tell you that, right? You have to do it somehow, know about it, right?
yeah, you just have to know all these like little tricks that they're going to play. It's so stupid. It's not reality. You just have
Yeah,
to like, it's almost, I don't know what it's like. It's like if you've ever played some sort of competition where I guess golf has some sort of weird rules where if you do something that's not kosher or whatever. It doesn't actually affect the game, but you've just eliminated yourself or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I remember that she failed the exams, and
Oh,
then she had to do it again. So
it's
yeah,
expensive too. It takes a
yeah,
lot
it
of
is.
time.
Yeah, and also it's not just the exams are expensive. She also had to fly, I think, to Florida or somewhere to take it. And
Yeah.
she lives in North Carolina and Charlotte, and she had to take the exam both for North Carolina and South Carolina because Charlotte is right at the border. So yeah, but now she's
Yeah.
grateful. She's, as you said, it's a good job. She loves doing it. But it's kind of weird because my sister's not vegan, huh? So
Do you know why she's not vegan? Does she not believe she can be healthy on a vegan diet? What's her
um I think it's just a little bit of programming. I don't think
yeah,
it's necessary that she doesn't think you can be healthy. I think she has two kids in the family, and
yeah,
I think she just does not want to be the odd man out a little bit. And um, yeah, I think that's kind of what it is. And I think she's now like a director at a clinic or something, and she
oh, okay.
works from early morning to late evening, at least 3 times per week. And when I was there, I wouldn't see her in the morning. She would leave very early and come very late. So it's not to have the diet, but to change it was problematic for her. And a lot of the times she just said, like, because she knows me personally, and I'm a weird eater. Like I
Mhm.
eat for practicability more than anything first, right? Like I'm just gonna make a sandwich of sheer tofu and something and be like, I don't care that much about the taste. I love it
Yeah.
to focus on the taste from time to time, but most of my time I'll spend just having some food. And she thought that's what being vegan is. And I remember when we
Yeah.
met somebody in a store who had kids and was vegan, and their kids were vegan and he was vegan. She felt so guilty and so bad, and she told me like, oh, I thought it's just like you have to be weird to be vegan or something, but I see you can be normal and be vegan. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard when she's got nobody around her in her life that's vegan. Like it's hard, and she doesn't feel compelled to, because ultimately, what does being vegan do? It's not saving animals' lives. It's not sticking it to the industry, at least not in the US. Like you still have to pay for animal-based protein whether you buy it or not. Um, so like what's the purpose? Just to be a conscientious objector to it? You're making your life more difficult just for that. uh, it's hard if you're not drawn that way, if your life is devoted to children too, and
Yeah.
that's enough of a sacrifice to make the world a better place, is just trying to raise your children and then trying to resist billions of dollars in marketing. Like that's tough. But why did she become a veterinarian? What
Because she loves animals, I guess.
Yeah. Like, growing up, did you both, like, love animals, and, like, you could tell she was gonna be a vet, or
um yeah, the thing about Romania is most people either go to economic school or coding school like that. And when we were in high school, she wanted to go to economy school, but then she realized that it's kind of boring. She doesn't really like it, and she kind of likes animals, so she did to become a veterinarian.
Mhm.
Um, it
You guys have, like, pets growing up, or any animals?
um, we had only in high school. No, we didn't have a lot of pets. I remember bringing a lot of animals home because we were like in Romania. A lot of people just throw away their pets when they don't want them
Uh,
anymore. Or at least it's no longer the case. It used to be when I was young. So we would just find stray dogs, stray cats, and just bring them home always. And I guess we always just wanted animals, and my sister just felt like that and wanted
mhm,
to. Um, but I got to ask you, Crystal, because I want to get into this conversation,
mhm,
and I feel like I'm going to ask you a series of questions. I'm going to make them shorter because we've already kind of warmed up a little bit, but I still want to
mhm.
ask you some short questions. And then I want to dive into this because I'm very curious about this. Everything you just said so far that I'm curious about. Um, so, coffee person or tea person?
Coffee, but I like
Coffee
tea every
love.
now and then, but, like, I need black coffee. Yeah.
Black coffee. Okay, so not no milk or stuff in it.
Mm-mm.
Sweetened or unsweetened?
Unsweetened.
Hell yeah, love it. Do you arrive early, late, or on time to events?
Usually early.
Usually early. Okay, okay, I
Yeah.
like that. Same. Are you a morning person or an evening person?
Crazy morning person, like 4 a.m.
Okay, same.
Yeah.
Weed versus alcohol?
Oh, neither. I,
Neither.
I've never smoked weed in my life, so I have no idea.
Never? Oh,
Mm-mm.
okay. Okay. I've given it up, so
Yeah.
I can say yeah, interesting. Okay. So and also not alcohol because you just
Mm.
don't like it. Cool. Um, what's your go-to karaoke song?
I don't sing. It's not going to happen ever.
You don't sing even when you're alone?
Oh no, of course not.
What do
No.
you mean? Wait. So you're on a long road trip, right? You're on a
Mhm.
road trip of 4 hours. That's a long road trip for me. You don't sing at all?
No.
What do you do for 4 hours?
Listen to audiobooks or something. Yeah,
Ah,
podcasts.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Okay, that's cool. I just sing. That's my
Wow.
thing. I just sing. Okay.
What's your karaoke song? Go-to karaoke song?
My go-to karaoke song, it's something by Britney Spears for sure. I don't know. I'm just a big fan of her.
Yeah.
Um, I'm a
Brittany's awesome.
Britney
Poor
bitch.
thing, what she's going through right now. Freaking Kevin Federline wrote a tell-all book about her saying she's crazy. Anyway,
Jesus, she went through so much and people are still
yeah.
Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how clean is your car right now?
9 probably.
Okay.
I got it
Okay.
cleaned like last week. But there's like maybe a few things in there that I'd rather than it wouldn't be, but yeah, it's pretty clean.
Okay. I love it. What's your phone wallpaper right now?
What's my what?
Your
Phone? Oh, it's
phone.
a picture of my dog.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
A lot of people have different answers to this one. I love hearing. Okay.
Yeah.
Picture of your dog. Like, what dog do you have, by the way?
Sorry, what? Sorry, what was that?
What dog do you have?
Well, it's sad. It's my dog's name is Flash, and I rescued him from a shelter in vet school. He was my neuter dog. I was his anesthetist. And he's like a little scruffy terrier, basically. But I he really liked my ex-boyfriend, and I was traveling a lot, so he ended up pretty much staying with him. So I don't really have him with me now. So
Oh,
yeah,
oh shit. I'm sorry.
it's fine.
Do you share it? Do you have shared custody or something?
I guess in theory, but I haven't seen him for quite some time now. Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
What is the compliment you get the most?
Oh, do people compliment me?
I'm sure people compliment you, Crystal.
What's the compliment I get the most? I guess the thing people say is like, your skin looks so good or something like that's like the one weird thing, which I think is weird because I naturally have really horrible acne prone skin. But I work hard on it, I guess.
No, see, Benji, that she's smart. Okay. And
I don't come
mean,
across very smart in person, I think.
no, why do you say that? No, come
I
on,
don't know, because
Crystal.
I'm mostly just like very quiet, and
Ah,
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. Every conversation I've had with you doesn't strike me like you're not smart. Strike me like you're a very smart person. It does strike me like you're not interested in a lot of what other people have to say, but you're a
Yeah,
smart person.
I live in my own brain, I think. Yeah. So I that's definitely a good critique of me, is I'm a little too focused on what I'm thinking about instead of what somebody else is saying. And I get bored easily. So
I mean, I don't know if that's a critique. If
yeah.
that's who you are and that works for you, why not? I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
It's not. It's
it
neither
comes
good nor
across as
bad.
very self-centered or narcissistic or something like
Eh,
that.
fuck them. Who cares what people think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, and what did you want to become when you were a child?
I went through lots of different things. I thought I was going to be a police officer for a while until I realized that the police were bad and horrible. And like, grew up with the X-Files and wanted to be like FBI. And then you realize that the FBI is bad. They're not like Mulder and Scully. Um, and everybody always said I was going to be a veterinarian. And I'm like, no, I don't want to see suffering, dying animals. So then I thought I was going to be a human doctor, like orthopedic surgeon or plastic surgeon. And then I decided I wanted to go to vet school mostly just for the knowledge. And I thought I was going to have my own business that was something non-vet related. And then I ended up actually becoming a vet. So that's kind of the path. And I thought I was going to be a horse trainer too. That was like a big thing in my life. Was I thought I was going to ride in the Olympics and train horses. And I did that for a while and did not like the horse world and realized it was not where it's at. So
I get that. Did you first become vegan or did you first become a veterinarian?
I was vegetarian in vet school, and then like it just took me a while to get my act together to like full on commit to not eating animal products. And I have no idea when that was. I just kind of realized one day I actually don't eat animal products anymore. So
okay. Oh, yeah. I get it. I mean, I guess I kind of in the same. I don't really remember the day. Okay, and was it like, I've heard you speak about a lot of injustice. I'm just going to go into it now. So I've heard you speak about a lot of injustices that veterinarians go through or that happen in veterinarian school. How, like, when you were there, as you were a vegetarian, I'm assuming you weren't really, like, did you have a problem? I'm assuming you do vivisection there. Did you have a problem with what was being done to animals as a vegetarian there, or did you only afterwards, reflecting on it, see the issues of it?
Oh no, I had a problem with it, and I chose. There's a class that I wanted to take, which was large animal surgery, but it involved killing animals, and so I decided not to do that. And it sucked because I missed out on learning farmed animal surgery stuff, which would have been beneficial to me. I could have pushed back on, I think there were some labs where like they killed fish for us to dissect, and I should have been a conscientious objector to that, but I just didn't have the wherewithal to like question where these fish came from. I remember we had discussions about declawing cats that were very like, oh, cats would be relinquished to the shelter if their people weren't allowed to declaw them, and ridiculous things like that, like not really taking any sort of moral stand. Like it's wrong to cut off your cat's toes just for your own convenience. And they're always coming up with ways to justify these things. There's also the whole horse slaughter issue. They justified horse slaughter as like saying there's this huge unwanted horse crisis and there's nothing else we could do. Well, it's like we could demand that these breed associations and these horse shows put money into a pot to care for all these unwanted horses. But we just there's all this like veterinarians just have to deal with the system the way it is. And there was so little emphasis on like the things that we need to change about the world in order to make it better for animals, which and I remember sitting there many times being very frustrated and feeling very alone within my thoughts and not feeling empowered to like raise my hand and argue, because like I'd done that in the past. And like growing up, I grew up in a very sort of toxic, abusive family too. And anytime I would speak up about things, I would just shot down. And so I just kind of felt like, there's no speaking up about these things, or like I'll sit down and think about this and write something later. But right now, vet school is just too overwhelming. I don't have the energy, but one day I'll think about these things and write more about these things later. So I guess that's where I am now that I have free time and I only work 2 or 3 days a week. I have time to think about these things and formulate my arguments and try to address these bigger issues. So that's where I'm at.
Do you think that the system can change? Like, do you think veterinary school can be in a way where they don't actually exploit animals themselves?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's already schools that like we just published this paper in the Journal of Veterinary Medical Education where we got IACUC documents from all of the public schools in the United States and Canada and calculated how many animals were killed in each schools and looked at all of their courses and what they were doing to train students in these various skills. And no two schools do it the same way. So one school might be able to teach students one thing without killing animals, and another school kills animals to do it. So if all these schools just got together and talked to each other, we could easily develop a curriculum where no animals are harmed. And there's already schools doing this. Western University has a reverence for life thing. I think Midwestern University is very much the same. It's not Texas A&M, but I think it's University of Texas, or no, Texas Tech is one that doesn't kill any animals, and University of Arizona is another one that doesn't kill animals. So it's definitely possible. And my goal is within 5 years, all of these schools will no longer be killing animals for their student training, but we'll see how that goes.
Oh, that's a good one. Do you think they
Yeah.
should also teach ethics in these schools, like at least some form of ethics towards animals?
Yeah, they do teach ethics, but I remember my ethics class was taught by an attorney, and it was more about the ethics of how you advertise as a vet, like not claiming you're a specialist when you're not, what language to use and not use. And I remember we had this one ethics section where it was like a small group, and he met with us, and he's like, talk amongst yourself and come up with like an ethical dilemma that you found in vet school, and we can discuss it. And I was like, oh, I can bring up the fact that I was on my horse reproduction rotation and saw them tie a young horse to a pole and let that horse fight itself against the pole until the horse was bloody and the head was bloody. And then when I raised concerns about this, the other students rolled their eyes at me.
Jesus.
And then I was given a bad grade for acting unprofessionally. And then the other students were like, no, let's not talk about that. Like, you were cringe there, so we shouldn't talk about that. But literally, when you're being cringe, it's because something is wrong. And you're like responding like a normal person would, where everybody else is just like, okay, we've learned to just shut our mouths, and the professional thing to do is to not judge. And
This is kind of
just
messed up because
that's great.
the whole point of education is to ask questions and learn. There's no such thing as cringe in education. I just didn't understand it well enough. Please explain to me. This looks cruel to me. Aren't we supposed to help animal? Like, what was the purpose? A horse was being tied by a pole, and
They're trying to teach this young horse how to like tie, but the horse was fighting. And normally, like if you're a good horseman and training horses correctly and classically, you would slowly introduce them to pressure and teach them to yield instead of just flooding them and having them fight it out and get injured. And I suggested, when I saw all this happening, that, hey, maybe you should like have the behavior team come and work with this horse. And the behavior team is a group within the vet school that understands classical conditioning and how to properly train a horse. But these were like the older school people who were like, we're the horse people, we know what we're doing, we don't need these like newfangled people with their theories about positive reinforcement to talk about this. We got this under control, and how dare this vet student judge us for the way that we're training this horse. This is how we always do it. And I actually got out my camera and I just started filming, just because I was like,
their response, or
I'm
what
gonna
was
no, I
happening?
just filming this horse throwing himself against the ground. And this is
Oh.
UC Davis, by the way. And the professor comes up to me and is like, and then another student is like, we see you filming. It's like, so what are you scared of? What's wrong? And I, was just going to show it to other professors and be like, what do you think about this? Is this how we handle horses here? But yeah, it was so maddening. There's just the gaslighting. And if you feel all alone, it's like, am I the problem here? Because I'm not going along with what everybody else is doing.
Yeah,
You just
no.
have to,
I think that's what it is with trailblazers, isn't it? Whenever you stand out
you,
and you're like, you're gonna be somebody's gonna not they're not gonna like it, they're gonna be like, why are you bothering me?
exactly.
This is what we've always done, or something. I don't know.
And the exact same phenomenon exists in the animal rights movement. If you're part of the animal rights movement and you say like, actually, I don't think that we should be doing things this way, or like maybe protesting loudly and calling people names in this scenario isn't the best way to advance our cause. Or maybe we shouldn't just support that man who's saying that the people voicing concerns about his behavior are jealous and resentful and gossips. Maybe we shouldn't just, protect him because he's done such good work for the animals. But yeah, that's how it is. And almost feel like, I don't know, is there a way to teach people how to be willing to like stick your neck out and stand alone in the face of everybody else just simping for those in power? Or is it just a certain type of person with a certain life history who's willing to do that? I don't know.
You can learn it for sure, because no, I mean, I don't know. I always stood up to authority also, but I also always was a people pleaser, which was kind of weird. So
Yeah.
with therapy, I ended up no longer being a people pleaser, so I have no problem standing up to authority. But I don't know. Is it just a type of? I think you can learn it. I'm one of those people
Yeah.
who believes all behavior is learned behavior.
I think like that's the number one thing we have to teach vet students is don't be a people pleaser. Like but also don't be an asshole. Like there are so many vets who are just, they've learned to be assholes. They have no empathy for clients who are like, their dog is dying. They're just hit with this $2,000 bill that they can't pay and they're angry. And the vets are like, we just have a high suicide rate. How dare this client be mean to us? It's like, well, do you understand what position they're in? And it seems like the vets who have been very successful and started multiple practices and now make a lot of money, they just don't care. And they do a lot of good for the animals. They help, but if somebody complains, they just no empathy for their staff or the clients who are voicing concerns. It's like you either come to us and accept what we charge, or you get out of here. And if you want a job here, you either do what you're told or get out of here. And that that is what our society incentivizes. And it's same with the animal rights movement. There are leaders who are like that. You're either with us, supportive of us, and if you voice concerns, you're out of here. And they're the ones that get all the donations and the funding, even though they
I
might not be the most effective.
I really am curious about specifically who you're talking about, but
No, I'm not going to mention names because dude would love for me to mention his name because he would love to. He's to sue, and I will not give him that. And he loves to be talked about. So,
but I gotta ask you because I'm curious. You said
but
you're a
we can
veterinarian.
talk about the drama, and I can talk about my whole experience and walk you through the.
I would love that.
Okay.
I am just really curious about this one thing before we go there, because I'm
Okay.
really curious about the drama also. I wasn't planning to talk about drama. I was planning to talk about a lot of stuff, but the drama seems kind of cool.
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, because you were a veterinarian when you said you were vegetarian when you went to veterinary school. Did you learn about the process of dairy cows, what they go through in veterinary school, or did you learn about it before?
Um, we didn't learn actually a ton about dairy cows in vet school. I studied animal science at UC Davis though, and animal science is like a production of animals uh, degree. And so you learn about all sorts of animal production systems. And one of them was dairy. And so we'd go to a dairy facility and do exams and learn about all of the techniques that you do on dairy cows. Um, but there was a lot that I know now that I didn't know then, like the diseases and like I don't think we were even shown calf crates. which is the major way in California and the United States how calves are raised. And I think what vegans get wrong about this is vegans commonly say that boy cows of the dairy industry are like trash and are worthless to the dairy industry, and they're raised as veal. But
Yeah.
that's not true. They are actually, most of their money now comes from selling the boys as beef, and they are breeding the dairy cows with Angus to produce beef on dairy calves, and those calves can sell for $1,500 when a
Oh,
profit from milking a cow is usually about $1,000 a year. So they're making more money selling these beef calves than they are even milking cows. And then they make more money selling manure and low carbon fuel standard credits. So like milk is a small percentage, a minor percentage of
wow.
profits of a dairy. But they confine these calves to these calf hutches barely bigger than their body. And in California, we passed Prop 12, which says that veal calves have to have 42 square feet of space. But such a small percentage of these calves are sold as veal. The vast majority are sold as beef or as replacement heifers. So the majority of these calves are still housed in these tiny, tiny little crates. So Prop 12 hardly did anything to the dairy industry. Very, the vast majority of calves are housed in these hutches that are too small. But we never even talked about that in my undergrad program. We never really learned what happens to the calves.
I mean, 42 square feet is still very small. I had to
Yeah,
convert it to square meters, and it's very,
it's
very
like what,
small.
6 feet by 8 feet or something like that.
I did get a question meanwhile, and I would
Mhm.
like to ask you on this one. What do you recommend for a vegan student wanting to become veterinarian? How to choose school, etc.?
Well, are you a courageous activist who seeks to go to the worst schools so you can change their curriculum and like speak truth to power and save more animals by changing a curriculum? Or are you more of the passive type who just wants to go to a school that aligns with your values and not change systems? If you want to go with one that just sort of aligns with I like UC Davis, even though they still kill animals. Like there is some real chances there to change their curriculum. And so that might be the best one to go to. And you'll get exposed to a lot of farmed animal stuff. I think vegan vet students should take all of the farm animal classes that they can, because we desperately need people aligned with us who are experts in farmed animal stuff, who can, testify and be experts in these fields to change policy. We have enough vegan companion animal vets. And yeah, that's where the money is. So like, yeah, you need to learn that stuff, but it's easy. It's easy to become a companion animal veterinarian or like high quality, high volume spay neuter vet, shelter vet. I learned all that stuff on the job. But we need vegan activist students to take those farmed animal classes and position themselves as experts in the field. So UC Davis is the best school if you can get in. It's really hard to get into, but if you can, great. Western University is another one in California. I've heard a lot of criticisms about the way that they teach. There's maybe not enough professors actually teaching you stuff. It's more of a self-taught sort of thing, which isn't great. Midwestern might be the same thing. And it's also, Western and Midwestern are two private universities, so they cost a lot more money. Tufts is another great one. It's also private, but I think it's more affordable. But they also have a more ethical curriculum. Cornell is private as well, and they might have some problematic courses. But there's also a lot of very progressive people there too. And
Is there any way that people can tell which one is which, like where they can look what school is
yeah, if
how it is?
you actually go to our paper, if you Google Crystal Heath, Robin Chadwin, to find our paper in the Journal of Veterinary Medical Education. It was published in August. You can kind of get an idea of all of the schools and how many animals they use. I guess I can't post it in the chat. So I'm going to maybe post it in the private chat and you can post it.
I'll put it. I was gonna. Thank you.
And let's see, there's a link to it to PCRM's website where we have all of the protocols listed. So, check that out. And you can also send me an email and ask me what I think of various schools, but it's really hard to get into vet school. So if you can get in anywhere, that's great. If you get in a couple of places and you want to choose between two, like send me an email. But in-state tuition, tuition's a big deal too. So although we make a lot of money as vets, but you never know what's going to happen. You could get sick and injured and not be able to practice. And then you're hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and then can't pay it off. So that's not good either.
And I gotta ask, because if you go to sorry, I don't know if you were.
Yeah.
So if you're going as a student there, and you're a vegan person, and your intent is to, let's say, somehow leverage, of course, because you want to have some form of money in your life, but you also want to do the best that you can for the animals. Should you try to approach other veterinarians and get them to go vegan? Should you try to focus on the curriculum of the school, or should you, as you said, focus on farm animals and go from there? Like, what would you recommend would be the best impact or the biggest impact somebody who's doing veterinary school could have?
Well, I personally don't think it's ever effective to convince people to go vegan. That's just not, I'm like, I want to convince people to support animal-free food system. You might have success with that. I never tell people hey, you should go vegan and here's why. But a lot of my classmates now have said, because of this content that I share, they now don't eat animal products anymore. My family is vegan. And I know so many vegan outreachers who are like, my family's not even, like Gary Yourofsky, my family's not even vegan. It's like, yes, dude, I know, I could tell. You're turning people, your style of outreach does not work towards people you care about. But if you're just living your life and raising awareness about these issues, the people and being kind to people will see it and they'll change if they're compelled to change. But I also think the movement needs more experts in farmed animal stuff, because we are trusted professionals, that people trust veterinarians more than anybody. Politicians, lawmakers trust veterinarians more than vegan activists. So we need more veterinarians who are aligned with us, who are experts in farmed animal stuff, who can comment on these things and change these systems and raise awareness about the harms of these issues. I think changing curriculum is huge, because that would allow more people into vet school, because a lot of people self-select against entering the veterinary profession because they're like, well, I saw what the curriculum is and that's not really my thing. And I don't want to see animals hurt, and I don't want to kill animals, and I don't want to dissect animals. But those are the perspectives we need as veterinarians, and we're missing out on those compassionate voices in veterinary schools. So I think changing the curriculum will go a long way to changing the culture of the veterinary profession. And so, yeah, what was the other thing? We did the curriculum,
changing the curriculum, getting more students to be vegan, or essentially what, learning about the farmed animals, or how can we impact is there even a track maybe from veterinary school towards, as you call it, changing the food systems from there? Is there a track that gives you more leverage towards changing the food system from that point?
Yeah. So, I think especially people whose income does not rely on farmed animals, but can speak authoritatively about farmed animals, even serving some time as a regulator in the USDA or something, and knowing that that's not going to be your career. Or we have the PACO program, which is the Professional Animal Auditors Certification Organization. And these people who are PACO certified go into farms and like make sure that they're following all the rules, or like certified humane. But if we had one of our people in there who like actually judged these facilities harshly and pointed out all the problems, or was a USDA regulator and actually tried to get these slaughterhouses to follow the law. I've talked to like one of the former chief veterinarians of FISIS, and he's like, yeah, the problem is when veterinarians do that and they are strict about getting these slaughterhouses to follow the laws, they're quickly reassigned to district offices and not on the ground anymore. But if we had a whole bunch of people to go in there and do that and then say like, hey, I'm being retaliated against for trying to follow the law, who'd speak to the media and who did their PACO thing and did their humane certified thing, and afterwards spoke to the media about all of the problems they saw and raised awareness about this, knowing that like they don't depend on that job, I think that would go a long way in
But what would that
pointing out.
accomplish?
I think it dismantles consumer confidence in the industry, because right
I
now
see what you mean.
veterinarians are protecting consumer trust and confidence in the industry. And the industry, I go to all these talks and they talk about how important it is to maintain their social license to operate. And that's why they want to create these welfare
Social
programs.
license.
Their social license. Like,
Is that actually a
society's
thing, or
yes,
yeah.
well, society's allowing them to continue to kill animals as a means of protein production, and we need to protect that. And
I see.
veterinarians are seeking to protect that. And all the conversations about depopulation, it's like we need to communicate this in such a way that maintains our social license to operate. But if more veterinarians dismantled that social license to operate, we would go a long way in ending this industry and dismantling public trust in these systems. And I mean, there's so much to it. Like, we're talking milk, 1 billion virus particles of H5N1 per milliliter of infected milk. And it's enough to infect tens of thousands of poultry birds. It's huge. Like, it's a huge risk.
So your strategy, it's interesting because I constantly think about this. Your strategy towards getting more people on the side of the animals is essentially saying that, well, look at how the way we produce food, it's not okay. The problem, what that I see with this, and the problem that I have with speaking to people on the street, is that most people, every single person I speak to, Crystal, will say, I'm against factory farming. What we do to animals is horrific. The way they do it is bad. But nobody wants to even do the bare minimum of research to say, well, I am supporting that. Well, I am paying for that. So even if because you're saying we should dismantle consumer trust in the industry, but it seems like that's already not there, because a lot of people are already aware of what the industry does. So where do we go from here? It seems like people still believe in this fairy tale situation, and they want to believe that they're buying the fairy tale situations, even if they're not.
I think nobody's like really doing anything about this, and they're not really engaging with these things. And I think there's ask people on the streets, what do you trust more, this meat that you get from the store or this Beyond Burger? And I think most people will be like, that Beyond Burger is highly processed.
Yeah.
It doesn't taste good. So there's less trust in the animal-free foods than the animal-based foods. And it's foreign, they're not used to it, all of these things. So I think we have a long way to go in dismantling trust in meat. And I think there's so many things we need to raise more awareness about, and just the harmful production systems. How many people get cancer when they live near these facilities? It's like really worse than secondhand smoke.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like, put it out there, put it together. There's so little good educational content. And I listen to a lot of the animal-based meat industry stuff, and it's so compelling. And it almost, if I didn't know, I'd be like, Yeah, I believe them. That makes sense. It's well produced. They seem to have all their facts straight. Whereas the vegan stuff, it's not very well produced. A lot of the points they keep using about like 14% of greenhouse gases come from animal agriculture. Like that's been thoroughly refuted by the industry, not in a way that's factual, but in a way that's more compelling. And so people, whenever they hear that 14% greenhouse gas, they go like, oh, that's been debunked by the meat industry. And plus, a cow grazing on grass is the most natural thing in the world. And these vegans want to say that that's harmful. So we really need to get out of our bubble and look at what the industry is saying instead of we living in our own like little vegan world, and look at it through the eyes of like a normie out there.
So I'll
You know what
tell
I
you, a
mean?
lot of the times when I go on the street and I have these conversations with people, I do feel a little bit like ideologues, right? Like I feel
Mm.
because nobody talks about philosophy, nobody talks about morals on their day to day. Yet as a vegan, or especially as an animal rights activist, it's all you talk about. You go out there and you're like, well, is it moral? Is it not moral? And I feel like all of these conversations, they just end up showing that most people don't really know or care about morals that much. Oh, I don't know. Like, that's just how people are. So I would love to have some practical stuff to lead them more in that direction, because I do believe that when people start looking, like the best thing you can do when you do outreach is get people to look more into it. And if you succeed at that, then I do think people will make the right choice inherently. So
Yeah.
is it, because is the right choice to, in speaking with people, is it that we should deliver the message a little bit like it's detrimental to humans, which it is, right? Like we know that this industry is not good. It's detrimental to animals also, but
I think it
you
depends
know,
on like who you're talking to. Some people might
that's
be
true.
really interested in talking about philosophy and ethics and morality. Some people hate the fact that corporations are taking over the world. And you can say like if you want to support, and some people really um, love talking about monocrop agriculture. It's like, well,
Oh yeah.
if you hate monocrop agriculture, then you should really hate animal-based protein production. If you hate big, and I saw this meme the other day of like, big pharma hates this, and it's like a plate of um, beef and eggs, and it's like, no, actually, big pharma loves that because they make most of their money from selling medications, antibiotics, and vaccines to slaughter-bound animals. So, like, debunking all of those things is like really important. Most people don't really engage in these things. They just look at the memes online and um, you
Yeah.
know, believe Joe Rogan when he says like you kill more animals by eating vegan because of the crop deaths. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it's so frustrating.
It is, but because one of the issues I have with this approach of, like, I like it, and from time to time I do tell people about the industry and how it's bad, especially people who I see are more liberal, because liberals are usually more focused towards, dismantling corporations and stuff. They have this whole thing. So a lot of the times when I'm in that position, I try to also make that case. It's just that then those people end up saying the thing that I don't think it's the case in the US as far as I know, but in Europe it is very much the case. Amsterdam especially, like every neighborhood has a butchery. And while I myself bike every single day on my way to the gym and I see the butchery and I see when they do their uh, when they get their products, they come from the same places that the supermarket gets them. People think that if it's from a butchery, somehow the animal was treated excellent. Somehow none of these
Mhm.
programs exist, and they're
A lot
not
of
no
consumer
longer.
trust in it.
They're no longer. That's what their point is. Like when I'm buying from there or I'm buying from a farm, I'm no longer supporting the industry. How would you tackle that?
um it's hard because I don't know what's
Yeah,
the truth. Like, can you show where the animals from those butchery come from? Can you show some video of it? Like, that's where I
we
think,
have some video. Yeah, we have
yeah,
some
show
videos
like,
of
hey, this
animals
is where
butchered.
the animal comes from that butchery. Like, do you still think that? Can you I wonder if instead of saying like, hey, you should go vegan, what if you said like, hey, what's a big chain restaurant in your area? We want this chain to replace their dairy with cow-free dairy milk, like Board Cow or something else, or
Yeah.
Ripple or
We
whatever,
don't have
not
board cow
milk.
though. Board cow is
Is
cool.
there another, like, same protein content, same
We're
taste?
we're gonna get into precision fermentation. I heard it got
Okay.
approved, and the products are gonna come on the market next year or something like that.
Okay, well, that would be good. I wonder if you could, like, ask people that, like, will you join us in asking this restaurant to remove dairy and replace it with this alternative, and see what they say? So it's not like you're attacking their personal choices, but it's getting them to think about this, and also getting them to think about the systemic thing, with it.
But don't you think that's also creating this effect of them thinking that they're doing enough, of saying,
Well, I think
well,
the worst thing that's harmed our movement is the fact that vegans think they're doing enough by just being vegan.
that I
I
agree with you on that one. I actually agree
Yeah.
with you on that one. Yeah.
I would
But
rather have a mediator who's pushing restaurants to remove animal products from their menus than a vegan who's just vegan.
what do you mean by that? Let's dive deep a little bit into
A
this.
vegan
What
just being vegan is doing nothing. And we're only going to get, like, there's only a certain percentage of people who are going to be those early adopters who are going to do things despite the fact that the vast majority of society isn't doing that thing. And that's vegans. So by telling people, like, hey, you go vegan without changing the system of advertising, of marketing, of the availability of these products everywhere, we're only going to stay in this, like, 3% of people who are gonna go vegan. We're going to change the production. What we wanna do is, like, reduce the number of animals who are in this system and being produced, and the only way to do that is to target the subsidies and to convince restaurants to replace these products with animal-free products, and to also not allow animal protein production facilities to rebuild, because dairies only last 30 years. If we can make sure that there's no way for new dairies to be built, we can end the dairy industry in 30 years. So if we do all of these things, that's going to ultimately change people's habits rather than just convincing people to go vegan. But somebody who's just vegan and just lives their life vegan isn't doing good for the animals. The same number of animals are being killed. The same amount of money is going to prop up Cargill, these corporations. So I
So
think
you're saying being an activist is more valuable than just being vegan?
Mhm,
So do you
absolutely.
think I should go out on the street and tell people to be activists, not to be vegan themselves?
Yeah, because I think we need people to join in a cause to create systemic change, no matter their ability to resist billions of dollars of meat industry marketing. Like, that's the most important thing. And I think once people get active in supporting a cause and being angry at the industry, they'll go vegan, but it'll be like a byproduct of them being active and actually doing really effective work for the animals. Supporting some legislation, like a targeted campaign against a restaurant to get them to remove an animal product from their menu. So,
Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, it's an opinion. I don't know. I think like all types of activisms are good forms of activism. I
yeah.
don't think. I mean, I like to think that I personally like to share the blame a little bit with the consumer and the company. Like I see it as both are a little bit to blame. But I do agree with you on this idea that somehow I would love it if people would be more enraged with what the corporations, what the industry is doing, rather than with us telling them that they're supporting it, because
Mhm.
when I'm telling somebody that they're supporting it, I'm not doing it for them to feel bad. I'm doing it in a sense so that they no longer
But you
stop
should also
supporting
say,
it.
and I'm forced, well, I don't know, their system is, it's really easy in the US because I can say, like, I'm part of the problem too because I pay taxes and 73% of dairy revenues come from some form of subsidy. So, like,
Some
it
subsidies,
sucks that
yeah.
the industry has denied us a choice and they've stuffed their products and everything. And so I can't have a delicious high protein meal at McDonald's if I want to, because they just don't have any options for me there,
Oh,
um,
Jesus. We
without
have
animal
options here.
products. Yeah, your McDonald's has vegan stuff. We don't.
McDonald's, KFC,
Yeah,
all of them have it.
that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
We
it's,
over
I
here.
mean, it's just because there's a lot of demand for it. It's not necessarily, but especially here in the Netherlands, I'll say most people giving up meat, most people will be like, I don't, okay, fine, no problem. But a lot of people will have a problem giving up cheese. It's a big cheese country, and Europe is a big cheese
Mm.
place. So giving up cheese is their most people's issues. It's like, I don't want to give up cheese. And I feel like, of course, I could always tell people, hey, you can give up meat, and it would still be a good point, right? It would still make a difference eventually in the end, because I'm guessing they would still end up losing money if people don't buy meat, but they only buy cheese. I'm not sure. Especially, actually,
Well,
yeah,
the
it makes
dairy
well
industry
if
makes
it's
most of its money from selling beef and from selling manure. So,
so
um,
then it would make a lot of sense because apparently it's still the meat that makes the most money.
the cheese is just a byproduct of the dairy industry.
Oh wow, is that a case in US specifically, or is that everywhere? Like,
I think it's I think it's big in the US. I don't think they have dairy digesters in other countries. I don't imagine.
what's
So,
dairy digesters?
dairy digesters are these. So we have these massive farms and these manure lagoons, and they cover the manure lagoons with a tarp to capture the methane, and they pump the methane through these pipes, and
Mm.
they refine it into renewable natural gas. So trucks are running on basically dairy cow methane. And they also sell these low carbon fuel standard credits. So a lot of these dairies in California make more money selling low carbon fuel standard credits than they do by selling milk.
Ah,
So
Jesus. My
yeah,
God, capitalism is insane.
yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay. So I want to dive
But
into that drama also before
I
we
mean, I
get there.
do
But
think there's something with aligning your morals and your values and being a conscientious objector to this industry. But I think that comes, you have to, I some people do like, oh, like one conversation. I've heard people like one conversation and I was vegan, and it's like, that's not most of us though. Eh,
that's true.
that's like you learn about this thing, you get part of a campaign for change, you realize how horrifying the industry is, and then you're like, I never want to pay for this again. Although you are still paying for it, but you're still like, I'm not giving it any extra pennies to this. And that's like something that has to come from within. It's not somebody telling you
Yeah.
that. It's like over time you develop this outrage at the horror of it and how the whole system has manipulated you, which is, Gary Yourofsky's speech, why it was so powerful. This is like, look at the way that they're manipulating you and all these marketing and all this stuff. And you're like, yeah.
So,
So
so do you think it's more powerful to get people enraged at the system and thus get the people right, like getting to understand the message through getting enraged with the system, or is it more powerful to get people, like if you had to choose one of them, and let's say you had a special power which the person in front of you can understand whatever you want them to understand, would you want them to understand that the system is bad, or would you want them to understand that what we do to animals is bad, essentially?
well, I mean, it's the system is bad because of the way the system exploits animals, and this hierarchy of like, those in power get to harm those with less power for their own benefit.
But the system is bad also because of getting subsidies,
Yeah.
because of all the things it does, right? All the pollution, all the
Mhm.
all the wastewater that puts in rivers and stuff, all the way it deceives people from believing, hey, we're all nice. Like the system is bad. Like what they do to animals is one part of it, but there's all this other shit around it. So if you like,
Yeah.
because a lot of us activists, we definitely focus on what they do to animals so that
Like,
people
just
don't.
just it's wrong to kill an animal for your own benefit, like that sort of thing.
Yeah, because we don't want people to end up thinking, well, what if I buy a chicken and I put it in my backyard? What if I kill the chickens
Mhm.
myself? Like they're always try to justify a way to going around it and feel good about their choices. So that's kind of why I like to go this way, because I'd love people to never support it again. Um, but I feel like there is a lot of value also around this system, right? Like telling people around like, about. I think
Yeah.
People will reach the conclusion
But you have to
faster.
like what it leads to in this world when you believe that you can just kill somebody for your own benefit is it leads to Cargill being able to enslave children to get chocolate for your own benefit. Like it's and to harm communities and for Smithfield to pollute communities of color with their hog waste because it's like they don't matter as much as the white men in power matter, and it just goes up the chain, and you see that with, and it's hard to, I don't know how you communicate that in one conversation with somebody, but you see it in all these arguments online. It's just the belief that like you're a loser if you're supporting the ones without power, or like the ones who aren't the cool ones with the money and all of the stuff. Like you're the animals are the losers, the women are the losers, people in poor communities are the losers, like people who are homeless are losers, and we need to just like round them up and throw them in jail and get them off the streets because they're just a problem for us. Just that callousness, and that's what capitalism incentivizes, just this callous view of others. And some people view it as like the only way, the best thing anybody could do is just strive to not be a loser. And therefore, just this is the Joe Rogan philosophy. His worst fear is to be a loser. And so it's just this callous attitude to anybody he views as a loser. It's like, just pull yourself up. And yeah, I can kill animals because like I'm higher on the food chain. Just being able to display that you're better than others, like that's the most important thing.
Doesn't
But what
that
does it
make you
get
a
us? It gets
loser?
us Cargill. It gets us like polluted rivers and streams and smog and like ruining our planet. How do you get those bros to listen to that, to care about that, when it's like they just want to be better than women, they just want to be better than others in their small little fiefdom that they, whatever they can cultivate for themselves. And if they can't be better than women because they didn't go to school or they don't make as much money as some woman, at least they can be better than the animals and hunt them and show their power that way.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
never understood these people who have an inferiority complex, especially towards women. It's so weird to me. I don't, whatever. But I'm lucky. I grew up in a family where, I thought women were always very cool. My mom always taught me women are better. I don't think women are better. I think women and men are equal, but, you know, that's just what I was taught from a young age. I gotta ask you, Crystal. As vegans and as activists, it's obviously we a lot of the times feel like it's kind of like an uphill battle towards what we are doing, right? And we all kind of know like what type of activism we can do, and I love discussing with what we can do. But can I ask, what is it that you do? And I'm not asking us in. Let's see what you do, Crystal. Huh? I'm actually genuinely interested. Like, what is it that you do? I know you funded Our Honor, and what is it that Our Honor seeks to accomplish?
Well, I think one of the most important things is like whatever your little realm of society is, like trying to change that. And my realm is the veterinary profession. But I
Yeah.
also think that the veterinary profession is like the most important group of people to change because we have public trust and we're the experts when it comes to animals. So, and we supposedly rely on scientific evidence. And so it's pretty easy to just point out how veterinarians need to support animal-free food production, and getting veterinarians on board with that. And I think even maybe we can get more people to ask veterinary school cafeterias to replace animal products with animal-free products, things like that. But veterinarians should be at the forefront of supporting animal-free methods of food production and ending our dependence on animal-based methods, mostly because the thing that we talk about the water use, we talk about the greenhouse gas and the land use. Nobody's talking about the virus problem. And we have a huge virus problem in the way that we can find animals. Even if we were like to Temple Grandin, genetically select animals that do not suffer at all and feel complete bliss all the way to the slaughterhouse, it's still wrong because we're like creating the perfect environments for viruses of pandemic potential to flourish. And we are in this ever escalating arms race against these viruses. And the whole H5N1 infection in the dairy industry is the perfect example of this. Now we have dairies that are spreading avian influenza to poultry flocks, and we have to exterminate millions of birds en masse because they're infected from avian influenza that infected dairies. And
Is it still happening?
Still happening, absolutely. And it now there's the fall migration, and it just hit Indiana. So some Indiana poultry flocks. It's hit Minnesota a lot. So your Genio turkey store, a flock in Utah, in Sanpete, Utah, which I think is Pittman Family Farms. And in all of these places, like in Colorado, especially in California, you have dairies right next to poultry facilities. So the dairies are hit, the poultry facilities are hit. This is like just destroying our nation's food security. And we're constantly having to fight these viruses. And we're talking about vaccines and all of these things. But we're seeing increased number of these zoonotic viruses. People are getting infected.
Oh, wow.
Meat from infected birds is going to slaughter. And now cats who are eating commercial raw food are getting sick and dying. And we're spending all of this money to try to solve this problem when the solution is supporting animal-free methods of food production. Like, we absolutely need to. The amount of virus in the air because of the sheer number of animals that we can find is absolutely horrifying. It's so much virus, it's unfathomable. And just how the dairy industry has tried to keep it quiet, how they were saying all along that cows aren't dying from the virus. It's a minor illness that sweeps through the dairies and it's over in a couple of weeks, until I went to the Central Valley and photographed piles of dead cows on the side of the road. And then the dairy industry had to switch their narrative and say, actually, so many cows are dying that rendering trucks are backed up and they can't pick up the cows fast enough. And how dare this activist take advantage of our crisis to promote her agenda? It's like, but you just have to show the truth of what it is, or else they'll just keep lying and gaslighting us. And we need more people to just do frontline surveillance. I just went to a dairy and got out my camera, and for a couple of minutes before they kicked us out, I was on public property, before they drove up and said we couldn't film on public property and kind of made us feel very uncomfortable. Just filming for a few minutes, you could see dairy worker hit the cows, and nothing in alignment with what the dairy industry is saying about how much they care about the cows and how they're all treated well. They're not obeying the farm standards. So we just need more people out there exposing this and not letting them gaslight us.
Can people, if somebody wants to do that, if somebody wants to go and film, let's say in US, is there, because I'm assuming if you just go to a farm next to you, I don't know, like there's farms outside of Amsterdam, and if I bike there, I don't see any of it. But
you should go to Kipster. Kipster's in the Netherlands. They have, their whole thing is like, we're high welfare and we have glass walls. So you can go right up to Kipster and like look in their glass buildings and see. But veterinarians have shared with me, they go and see, and there's cannibalism happening at Kipster. So Kipster's saying, "Oh no, we're great." It's almost like a guy who's like, "Yeah, sure, talk to my exes, and they'll tell you all about me." Call their bluff, talk to their exes, go and see for yourself. Don't just believe them because they have glass walls that everything's fine. It's not.
It's so funny. Okay. Okay, I wrote it down. Kipster, go there. I have to see where it is, and it's like a exhibit or something where they have
it. No, it's a like full-on factory farm. They produce eggs, and it's ironic because their communications person actually doesn't eat eggs, but they switched to the ovosexing of eggs. So, and a bunch of animal rights orgs is like, oh yeah, Kipster is so great. But maybe they're not. Go
Yeah,
see.
I mean that's very interesting. I actually that might make a good stream to just go there
Yeah,
and see what's
do
happening
live
there.
stream from it.
Yeah. Um, okay, I lost my
I mean,
train of
I'm
thought
sure it's
now.
better than most egg facilities, but it's still not good, and I still think it wouldn't align with most people's values.
Is there a like vegan veterinarian community worldwide, or is it just because I think I met a vegan veterinarian from UK when I was at camp out, and she knew about you. So I'm
Oh, was
wondering,
it
like,
Alice Brough? Or
yeah, yeah,
no,
yeah,
she
yeah,
was there.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so there's the Progressive Veterinary Association in the UK is great, but like, yeah, our honor is worldwide. We have veterinarians all over, and not all of the members, or we don't really have members. We just have like kind of a community. But we have people who haven't managed to resist the $1 billion of marketing of the animal-based protein industry. We accept everybody who just wants to fight the system, no matter what their dietary habits are. But there's a lot of them are vegan and from all over the world. A lot of Canadians, a lot of people in Mexico. We have like this whole group of Mexican vegan vets and vegan vets from Brazil, South America. So, yeah.
do you have like a 3 minute, how we have a 3 minute video where we show people on the street what they're paying for, what they're supporting? Do you have such a thing for veterinarians to join your cause?
I should probably make that.
Yeah,
I should.
because I would
I don't.
love to share it with my sister. I think, like as you said, even if she wouldn't change, I think she would love to be part of the cause.
Yeah. I mean, I never. All my videos are like explaining a harmful side of the industry. It's never like, and this is why you should join us. But maybe I totally should make
Oh,
that.
I got a,
I hate
a
to be
message here.
self-promoting.
Kudos to Crystal Heath. She's ethical and brilliant. Animal consumption is destroying the earth and the soul of humanity. Thank you, Mark
Oh,
J.
thank you. That's so nice.
Yeah. I think Crystal. I think a lot of us are just fed up with all of it. To be honest, we're fed up with this whole industry, and a lot of us, honestly, like I personally, the way I see it, I don't have time to put my ego before any of it. I want to listen, I want to change, and I want to see more changes happening because we all see how frustrating it is that no matter what we do, the change happens so small. Speak to one person, that person will not go vegan, more likely will make changes, but will not go vegan. And it's just, you end up in this place. So we got to have more conversations like this and we got to make more changes. So
Yeah.
what is your pitch? Like, if you could send a message to everybody in the world right now, what would be your pitch?
Would be my pitch? Just whatever your community is, like talk about this problem more. I there's so many different things. I think ending subsidies for this industry is a big thing. Getting restaurants to remove these animal products from their ingredients is huge. We all have like in our own line of work, our own way we are propping up the system. We are simping for the system. So like, let's stop doing this. Speak out about it and join together with others to create change and to highlight what an absolute problem this is. Um, and just join together and whatever you're passionate about doing to try to dismantle the system, do it, take action, but don't get sucked into the despair and don't waste your time scrolling online and all of that stuff. There's so much we could be doing to dismantle this system and to stop simping for these corporations and to stand up to those in power. So just do it. But my personal theory of change is reaching out to the veterinary profession. If every activist focused on getting their veterinarian to share some of this material and empowered them to start speaking out about this industry, because we're kind of taught like, oh, the food animal people, they're the ones who know this, and we have to stay in our lane as companion animal vets and not criticize our colleagues working in this. We don't have to criticize them, but realize that they are part of this system. They're doing the best they can, but they need outsiders to point out all of the flaws in their logic about this. Yeah.
And when you say point out the flaws in their logic, do you mean like just tell them about how ethically inconsistent or contradictory it is for them to say, I want to help animals, but at the same time, them supporting a system that does the opposite?
Well, to food animal veterinarians, they believe that they are acting ethically because they think there's this rising demand for animal-based protein. I'm here to make sure that those animals live a good life while also protecting our food security. And they believe that people need animal protein to be healthy, and we would not be healthy on an animal-free diet. So there's a lot of myths there that we need to dismantle. So it's not really an ethical argument. It's a lot of science. Like, you can be healthy on an animal-free diet. 95% of Americans consume a fiber deficient diet. We're eating way too much animal protein. This is not actually protecting our nation's food security. It's harming our food security. It's harming our communities. Here's how: it is polluting our rivers and streams. People who live within close areas of these factory farms are getting higher rates of cancer. The people doing slaughterhouse work suffer from repetitive stress and injuries and psychological injuries. We don't have enough veterinarians to care for these animals. It's a disaster, and in so many ways. And we're just seeing increased numbers of viruses of pandemic potential infiltrating these facilities, jumping from animals to human beings. And
but what would be the goal of this? I'm sorry. What would be the goal of discussing with these people? Would the goal be to get them to go vegan, or would the goal be to get them to fight against the system?
To fight against the system, to see that, like, my job as a shelter vet is to make sure that there's never a need for shelter vets in the future. And I don't understand why food animal veterinarians don't view their role as making sure there never needs to be another generation of food animal veterinarians. That's the philosophy that they should go with. It's like, yeah, I'm taking care of these animals now, but as an expert in this field, I need to be using my position of authority and public trust to say how harmful this system is and to lobby for support of animal-free methods of protein production and to encourage those employing me to sell off their farms and invest in animal-free methods of protein production. Like, I'm just not going to enable this producer to build more gestation crates. And as a slaughterhouse inspector, I'm going to speak out about what I see in these slaughterhouses and not just condone the building of more pig slaughterhouse gas chambers. You use your position of authority to, like, speak out about the harms and bring transparency to the system. And when you face bullying or retaliation for doing that, talk about it to the media. Like, we need 100 whistleblowers right now to really sound the alarm. So
yeah. Thank you, Crystal, for that. That's awesome. I actually know already where the veterinarian faculty is here, and I've been planning to go there for a while now. So I will definitely make a step there, and I'll discuss.
Yeah, table outside the vet school and talk to the vet students about, like, and I'd say,
I'm
like,
curious. Yeah, I'm curious how that will go. It's
I'm
sure they'll bring up something that, like, oh, you're talking about animals feel less or some shit that and use a term that I have never heard of or something.
This is why you got to have, like, your fact. You have got to have your scientific evidence to back you up. Land use stuff. They're going to say, like, demand for meat is rising. How are you going to respond to that? Like, what are veterinarians supposed to do when demand for meat is rising?
Fight against it.
But the animals are treated well. What if they say, like, animals in farms are better off than animals in the wild because they're provided with shelter, food, water, and a quick and painless death? and they're better off than those in the wild that often starve and suffer from predation and die horrible deaths from predation and disease.
But I don't think that they are better than in the wild. I don't
Do you have
share
any
that opinion.
evidence to point out that?
I don't have evidence to point that out. I have evidence that factory farms and regular farms are equally as there's an animal welfare index, and their animal welfare index is similar on both. But wild versus normal, well, the problem is that I think a lot of people think that animals only need food, shelter, and space, whereas a human doesn't just need food, shelter, or space. We also need some form of engagement. We need relationships. We need all this other stuff. And I think like all the animals that we farm generally need the same things. So if you were to be providing them with all of this, it still would be
But what if,
unethical for you to
like, what if we could, like Temple Grandin wants, we can breed animals that feel nothing but bliss all the way to the slaughterhouse. Why is it still wrong? Well, because we're creating viruses of pandemic potential, and we're not.
Oh, I see what you mean.
We're not
There's still
able
that issue, yeah.
to. Yeah, we still have this issue, and we're still
But
polluting.
slaughtering them is still an issue, isn't it? Because if they feel nothing but bliss, that's kind of messed up to just take that away from you.
Yeah, but I don't think people are going to be compelled by that argument.
No, a lot of people
still
are not,
have
you're
like,
right.
like people still have the belief that they can exploit others for their own benefit, and you can have that argument with them. Like, is it does just the idea of exploiting others for your own benefit ultimately harm humanity? And this is where we have the conversation about animal experimentation with veterinarians. I mean, here,
yeah.
I do believe in some labs, those animals are treated better than most people's dogs and cats, but it's still wrong what they're doing to them.
I mean,
Especially if you're.
that claim is obviously true, because there definitely are animals who are treated very badly by people as pets, and there's definitely animals in the. I think in any form of system where they have stricter rules, animals will be treated slightly better. That's essentially what the study about animal welfare index between factory farms and regular farms showed, that the rules made it better for the animals strictly because there were rules, and people couldn't really just I don't know, go against them. And that made such a big difference, because we all know like a smaller farm is slightly better, I guess, than a regular farm. But yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, for me, it's a little bit like, what I try to engage with people in understanding is that an animal is not that different from us. So that's kind of the attitude that I always go with.
So you have to know all of the ways that the veterinary profession has like indoctrinated these thought-stopping cliches in veterinarians. So like the second you say that, they go like anthropomorphizing, like it's like a Pavlovian response, and so you have to fight that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess I can. I don't think it's necessarily anthropomorphizing it. I think it's just everything that matters to people in life is everything that animals also have. So, if that's all that matters if the most important things in our life are that, and we wouldn't want a life without them, then surely that must be the case for any other animal also. Just because they can't rationalize it and speak it logically like us doesn't mean that that's not the case. But there's people who are willing to understand and people who are not willing to understand, and I tell myself that it doesn't really matter, because no matter who you speak to in front of, they'll either get the point from the start or they won't. Like, there's very little budging over there, no matter how you say it. At the end of the day, they'll either continue doing it because they want to, and they'll be very dissonant, or they'll be in this place where I'm not open to any suggestion. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you have to like get down to like their base, why they do anything in order to reach that. And sometimes it just takes like that vegan teaches takes 100 clicks.
I actually, Crystal, I actually think that's one of the best theories out there. More and more, I think that people, and I think it goes in line also with what you're saying, because the more people are exposed to what animals go through, I think the more they are inclined to change and not want to support it. And I think that the
Yeah.
more that happens, the more they're like, what am I doing? Why am I buying this? Because I think that disconnect is the biggest win that animal agriculture has, that this disconnect from the products that they buy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and the meat industry knows the 100 clicks thing because that's why they constantly bombard us with their advertising and their products. And it feels like we have to outpace them in many ways. I wonder if like their clicks, cancel out ours sometimes.
That's a good point. There is what is it called? Mm, anchoring bias. That's the
Hmm.
problem. I think that's
Yeah.
that's a lot of the times. I think I want to talk to more activists about anchoring bias, because it's so very important for us as activists to have facts on our side. Because if anything we say ends up being not factual,
Yeah.
then all that anchor that we set in the person just gets destroyed, and it just all falls down with it. So, but that's the thing. People have this anchor set from animal agriculture. They have this whole, you got to eat
Yeah.
animal
This
products.
is
It's good for
normal.
you. It's
Yeah.
normal. It's
Vegans are unhealthy, and there's so many vegans out there who are like, yeah, you're proving the point that vegans are unhealthy. They're all skinny and bags under their eyes and dark circles around their eyes, and they're mentally not well because they have a vitamin D deficiency and they don't take any DHA and they're not very quick-witted. It's like, what, you don't represent us, please. But they're out
yeah,
there speaking.
yeah.
I went
And
to
there's a
one
lot.
event where it was like some very skinny old ladies saying things that weren't true, and I was like, "Oh, I hope no veterinarians are watching this."
Have you heard about the B12 thing, Crystal?
What's the B12 thing?
Jesus Christ. Somebody wrote a book that B12 is a hoax, that
What
there's
do you
no such thing
Oh,
as B12.
a vegan wrote this, that there's no such thing as B12?
Yes.
Oh god.
Yes. Oh God, Crystal. And there's
No,
now activists who go out on the street and tell people that B12 is a hoax made by Big Pharma.
wow. Yeah, no, there's a bunch of vegans who come on and say H5N1 isn't true on my
Oh
Twitter account.
God. Like,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Vegans who say that?
It's all just bad care for the animals. It's not H5N1. It's like, okay.
My God, that's insane. I mean, it- how do what's your approach to all of this misinformation? Like, I tried speaking to these people. Honestly, I gotten absolutely nowhere. They just got more entrenched in conspiracy theories. But how, how should we approach this misinformation cascade that is going on? Because it's happening also in our movement.
I you just you have to use your time wisely. And it's like, is this worth my time? And sometimes it's just not. Sometimes you make a video about it and then like move on, but you just can't. Like I do know that like when I have a cat with diarrhea from a B12 deficiency and I give them B12, it resolves. Maybe I don't know what you call that, but
It's not a B12 deficiency. I'll tell you, because I read actually like a part of the book. It's a gastrointestinal issues.
well, like there are gastrointestinal diseases where you have bacterial overgrowth where they have consumed all the B12 and that creates a deficiency. And then when you resolve that deficiency, they get better. I don't know what to tell you. Like, uh,
It is what it is, Crystal.
yeah,
I actually want to hear. I don't know if you like. We're approaching that limit.
yeah.
I have 5 more questions that I ask everybody at the end of the interview, but I'm actually. I don't know if you are willing to share a little bit of that drama, because I don't know. I kind of want to
Okay.
think about a little bit of drama.
I'll do the 5-minute recap of it, basically. Okay,
Please.
so I was part of this animal rights group that had long had allegations that they were a cult. And I used to like make fun of these allegations and, be like, cults get results, blah, blah, blah. And they like, there was rumors that it was a sex cult and all this stuff. But I was like, I have, my own life and my own job. And I went to their meetups a couple of times and was like, these people are mostly weird and this is not really my thing. So I never really went to their meetups. Then I participated in this one campaign that was a legislative thing that ended up passing. So it was great. I was also a member of their press team, and I was really interested in writing more op-eds and getting them to write more op-eds about their opinions on things. And even in they had this press manual. Their press manual said something like, "We've tried writing op-eds in the past. This is not an effective form. They never get published." But when I started writing them, getting more people to write them, they started getting published because I, came across as more fact-based, less unhinged, and all this stuff. So that then became like more of a strategy. So like I saw some good in this group, but I didn't really dig in to it too much. They had smeared other activists in the past and made claims that these other activists had sexually harassed various people, and so they were bad people and not to talk to them. And I believed them. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, those are bad people,
Yeah,
or
why
those are
wouldn't you?
infiltrators and all of these things. And okay, like a long list of people who yeah, we're doing such effective work for the animals. We have all these haters who are just trying to like harm us because we're so effective. Like, okay, whatever. So one of their leaders ended up running for like a political office, and I was like, that's fascinating. I'll join this campaign. And then he started romantically pursuing me, and I was like, dude, I'm not interested. Like, not like, I still want to be friends. I think you're doing great work, but not really interested. He kept romantically pursuing me. I was, but he's like throw birthday parties for me, always come over. But I'm like, we're just friends and we both have this same interest in activism and stuff. But then, my horse got sick. I ended up quitting my job. Was in like a very vulnerable emotional state. Ended up like succumbing to his advances. And he was like, basically like, I want a family and children and all of these things, and I'm like, I'm sterilized, no interest in any of that. We should, and he's like, I'm, talking to this other person. I might have she's interested in having a kid with me. I'm like, might be interested in dating these people. Like, dude, you're talking to a lot of people. Why don't you date them? And he's like, but I want a relationship with you. Like I was like the only one for him or something like that. So I was like, okay, I give it a try since it seems like I'm the love of your life. Like, I'm willing to like see if that's true. Well, apparently he does this to everybody. And I started seeing red flags early on, but I have a busy life, and this is during COVID, of course, too. So you've got that on top of it. Started seeing red flags early on, like let it play out. He, future faked. We had vacations. We went on vacation together and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, a companion to go on vacations with, that's fine. But ended up calling it off after 10 months. And that's when he started retaliating against me. And he claims he's never, that he left this other group in several years before, but I know he's still very much in control of this group, and he would go to campaign meetings of this group and basically talk shit about me and say that I was hostile towards him and all of this stuff. And then he started romantically pursuing literally all my friends. He started romantically pursuing this 25, he's older, somebody who's more than 15 years younger than him, who also didn't want children, who lived across the country, who worked for me. And I was like, I had a conversation with him. I was like, dude, don't do, like, be careful. She's young. What are you doing? Like, and he like said, she came on to me, all of that stuff. And I'm like, no, she didn't. And then another woman, again, very young, didn't want kids, said like he basically came on to her in a dark alley after she'd volunteered for him, and again called him up, you know, because I believe this guy is all about like, I'm transparent, you know, have conversations with me if you have any issues. So that's what I did foolishly. But all I learned was that he's using everything that I know to spin a new narrative about what he did. And he was like, she came on to me. She's not who I thought she was. All of this stuff. And I'm like, dude, you're not being honest here. Like, these women did not come up to you. And then another one who lived across the country, who was my colleague. Same story. She came on to me and I'm like, fine. Actually, she's still young, significantly younger, but closer to his age and also a professional. So, and she's very outgoing and bubbly. Maybe it'll work out. He love bombed her, Zoom called her 4 hours a night, immediately said he loved her, flew across the country. They met in person and she was like, "Oh, this is not who I thought he was." And she ended up
she was like that.
Yeah, she ended up breaking up with him. And then, you know, spilled the tea and I'm like, "Yep." But meanwhile, he is like, the one girl who he romantically pursued filed a report internally against him. He's really started ramping up his campaign against me. Then there was a prominent animal rights activist who came into town to give a talk that he was moderating. Another girl came to me and said, like, dude, I saw this guy flirting with this girl at this party who was young and she was drunk. And I'm like, I can't believe this guy. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, well, this activist gave me tickets to this event because I mentioned in his book. So let's go to the event and like, let's see what they talk about. And so we go to the event and we sit at the table with these other girls who also had concerns about this guy. And this guy, this prominent activist who was the keynote at this event, also had his own sexual harassment lawsuit against him that was ended up being dismissed. And so this girl who I'm with has a couple of drinks in her. And she's like, I'm going to go ask him a question. And I'm like, oh my God, don't. And she shows me the question. And her question is, as men in positions of power in the animal rights movement, what is your responsibility to women? And I'm like, actually, that's a really good question. Like, go for it.
Question, yeah.
And some of my other friends were asking various questions. And so I was filming, you know, and she goes up, but a couple of drinks in her, she asks the question and then she elaborates. And she's like, man number A, you currently have a sexual harassment lawsuit pending against you. Man number B, you are currently facing felony charges with 2 of your ex-girlfriends, blah, blah, blah. What do you have to say for yourselves? Dude immediately looks at me and thinks like I set her up to this. And then after the event, comes up to me and start like aggressively start saying to her like, hey, if you have a problem with somebody, you should talk to them about it beforehand and all this stuff. And this girl is just like so done with this guy and she's like, oh, like F you, like, you know. And I'm like, we could all talk about this like some other time, not in public, like quietly, where we have goals and all of this stuff. And then he goes up to my friend and is like, is Crystal hostile towards me? And my friend like was in the bathroom and didn't see any of this happen. So I ended up, I'm like, this has gone too far. And then he says he's going to release this blog and this live stream about all of the drama. And in his blog, he says he frames my story as I am jealous and resentful of him because he broke up with me and set a boundary, even though I was the one who broke up with him. And then he calls all of his ex-girlfriends who are also mentioned in this and basically paints this picture as like, I'm the only one who has a problem with him. All of his other exes are like fine with it. And none of them know that the stuff that he says about me and another girl who filed a report against him aren't really the correct narrative. And I suggest to him, why don't we all get on a Zoom call and we can correct this blog post together? And he's like,
Yeah.
no, absolutely not. I'm like, fine, I'm not playing your game. He's like, he sends me the blog post and is like, do you have any corrections for this? And I'm like, yes, I do, but I'm not playing ball. You print your lies. Like, I'm not playing ball with you. So then there's this. So ultimately, like, the stakeholders end up telling him, talking him down, saying, don't publish that, you know, and he decides not to, but he holds on to it. Then this, there's this side chat with a bunch of people who I'm not in. And this one girl who lives in another country was romantically pursued by other men in leadership. And she grows sick of this group and
Jesus.
realizes that this dude that I have a problem with is obviously controlling these other guys who romantically pursued her. And this whole group has this whole scheme of romantically pursuing women to get them involved in activism, basically, to get them, like, you know, passionate and engaged about this. So they you know, love bomb
Oh,
them
I've heard
and,
this
you know,
about. I've heard
manipulate.
about this. Yeah, that's so
Mhm.
weird. I
And
dislike that so much. Yeah.
she gets pissed from another country. There's a big action that's happening. She ends up calling the cops on the action. Doesn't realize, because she's like, I'm going to stop this guy from getting his press attention and everything he wants. And the other people in the chat, like, don't see this until later. And the one girl who ended up filing a report previously sees this girl that she's called the cops. She screenshots that and sends it to her friend who is in leadership with this organization. And then it gets back to the guy who realizes, now I'm going to pin the fact that the cops were called all on Crystal. And then he changes his blog post, says, you know, activists are calling the cops basically because all of the lies spread by this one girl, this one ex of mine who's just jealous and resentful, that I set boundaries with her. And that has ultimately cost me funding, speaking engagements, and other activist women when my social media posts are shared, you know, to convince people not to share my posts, to convince them to block me. And then, so I'm still trying to play it nice with this group, don't realize, like, just how badly that they have smeared me. I'm still in the press team, and in the press chat, they say how they are going to litigate and retaliate against this other activist. Because then the other activist does more unhinged things. The one who called the cops, she ends up sending out a mass email to the email list. Oh, and then the group pulls the defense funding off of one of their activists who's also facing felony charges because she was in that group chat that was screenshot. And they framed her as being supportive of the cops being called. They even framed her as calling some of the other activists in this group were saying she called the cops, even though she's facing felony charges and she's an activist and she's not a snitch and all of this stuff. They snitch jacketed her. Another attorney, even after they pulled her defense funding, an attorney posted on Twitter when the National Lawyers Guild started a fundraiser for her, said, next level embarrassing that a National Lawyers Guild would raise money for a snitch. Basically calling an activist currently facing felony charges a snitch when she absolutely was not a snitch. And then another attorney ended up liking that tweet, and all of these people, you know, just liking this tweet, who are in leadership of this group, basically spreading a lie that this co-defendant was a snitch. So pretty outrageous. I just saw how they manipulate and spin a narrative just to protect their own power and prevent anybody from voicing concerns about their behavior. And the whole narrative was like, how is he supposed to date? All of this stuff. It's like, he shouldn't retaliate against exes when they break up with them or when they reject his advances. That's the problem here. Not how should he date. he should not retaliate against women by, smearing them this way, preventing us from getting funding, preventing us from getting speaking engagements and all that. So that's basically the drama. So, and I haven't mentioned any names, and nobody should be guessing who this is.
Oh, but I think I already guessed who it is.
Don't, yeah.
But yeah, I'm
No.
not.
This guy
I
loves to
don't know.
sue people, and
Yeah.
I don't want to be sued, and he loves his name attached to drama. So
Yeah, I don't know who it is. I have no clue.
So am I wrong? Did I do anything wrong in all of this?
No, I don't think you did anything wrong. I think it's I think so. I wrote down that this person might be a serial monogamist. Is that a thing? Is that what this person is? A serial monogamist?
I don't know if he's monogamous or not. Like, one of the reasons why I broke up with him was because he would have long 4-hour conversations with other women and hardly ever talk to me.
I thought with you, I'm like, too much. You speak too much.
Loves attention, and and I was getting. When I broke up with him, I said, we just do not have enough of a emotional connection to continue this, but I'm happy to be friends with you and all of this stuff. And I would have been happily friends and continued to do activism with him had I not been retaliated against and told other, activists, him telling other activists that I'm hostile towards him or something like that. Yeah. And not pursuing all of my friends. What?
And the pathological liar. I also wrote that down.
Definitely he lives in his own reality distortion field. The truth is he spins a narrative to benefit his own thing. And that's what a lot of people in this group were saying that about me, that I was spinning a narrative to protect myself. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, because it's not really protecting me at all, is it? It's quite harming me to try to talk about this.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing the drama.
Yeah. It's
and I'm sorry you
cathartic
had to
talk
go
about.
with it. Yeah, it's I have noticed also in certain organizations, I don't think it's necessarily a vegan thing. It's more every type of organization. When there's people in power, depending on the person, of course, but most of the times, most people who end up being in power, especially if they ended up there through some form of nepotism or, friendship type of situation, they end up abusing their power over women or partners that they want to engage with.
Yeah, I think it's a problem in our movement because we are a bunch of really empathetic people, and we're like, oh, all of these people are doing such good work for the animals. They must all be good. But these systems of we have a hero, and then the hero worship corrupts people. And especially and I talked to other people kind of before this all exploded. He would post things that were not correct. And I would be like, I don't have a good enough relationship with this guy because anything I say to him, he views as hostility or me being hostile. Will you tell him that this thing that he posted isn't correct because this, and this? And they'd all say he's so stressed right now. Is it that big of a deal? And this guy's whole thing is we need to be accurate and we need to be truthful and honest and have a high standard of work that we put out. But meanwhile, nobody wants to hold him to that same standard. If he puts out something that's really shitty and untrue, everybody's like, oh, he's really stressed right now. Is it that big of a deal? No, I don't think it's good for me to bother him with this right now. And he just gets to continue to live in this distorted reality where his work is high quality and everybody else's work is shit and all this stuff.
What would you expect people to do about it? Like you said, somebody should do something about it, because I was in a similar situation and I tried speaking to this person, but I tried speaking in a nice way, not in a dude, you're a douchebag kind of way.
No, I tried. I was very professional in all of the ways that I tried to confront him. I don't, Now I'm
But
more angry because I saw it didn't work. It's hard. It's like talking
yeah, it's
to
hard.
the veterinary profession about these things, or like any, you get gaslit over and over again. Like, dude, you're gaslighting me. You are manipulating the situation. You're spinning a narrative. You're not being honest. You have to, like, those people are gone. If you don't have a good enough relationship where they're going to listen to you, where they respect your opinion on things, there's nothing you can do. And if you realize that many activists are being harmed by this guy's behavior, then you have to go to the media and you can tell your story outside that realm. That realm is toxic. It's gone. We have to protect other activists from this pattern. And you can just talk about the patterns of harm, not naming names, because that sometimes gets people to be defensive, but talk about the behaviors and the harmful patterns. I can tell my story. We can recognize that the same harmful patterns exist across a wide variety of organizations and groups.
I have
And
seen it
hopefully
more.
people
Yeah.
can recognize that. And when they see it, step away from that and join together with people who are and support activists who are doing good work and not engaging in harmful behavior. I think recognizing that is the first step. But as far as changing those people, I'm not convinced that we can. I don't know.
Unfortunately. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just important that we don't end up in a position where we lose activists because of these kind of people. We put them in power. I think people in power should be held to a higher standard.
Yeah.
That's
And
all
that's,
that is.
I think we've made the mistake in talking about these harmful leaders is we say some things that aren't effective, like we need to make a safe space for women. And that's not
Yeah.
effective messaging, because that's painted as like, well, the world isn't a safe space for women and activists need to be courageous and they need to get stronger. And that's a more compelling message for most people, because most people kind of already have this assumption that like we are just activists are too fragile and there's all this infighting and people are too sensitive and we need to kick out the sensitive people who are just not cutting it. But I think the language of like people shouldn't be retaliated against for asking their leaders to elevate their standards of conduct. Like that's how we get stronger, and understanding that power corrupts and you are harming yourself if you are retaliating against the activists who are, and all of the activists who were bullied and retaliated against are all of the best activists that this group had. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but like I was doing, many people said like I was doing more effective work than many of the people who were on getting paid. So yeah, it's, and they're a great, people who are working on various teams. They're all really wonderful people who this group lost. And that's the problem with any group that has narcissistic leaders. They end up losing their best people. So, but like we
Yeah.
see, Trump is the leader of the United States. And those people do rise to the top often. And that's the one thing that we need to stop in this world, is stop elevating narcissists. Stop creating these systems.
Yeah, yeah, it's difficult because narcissists want to elevate themselves, so it's a little bit
Yeah.
like
And they find
it's
all their minions and their flying monkeys who will
yeah.
do their work, do their bidding, and attack all of those good activists who are doing great work, who are brave enough to talk about the harmful patterns in this group. Yeah. But all of those people, like, this is what I see, all of the people who are brave enough to speak out, too many of them end up leaving the activist movement altogether. And we all need to join together. But we do kind of like lose some trust in each other, I think, when we're part of that, because we don't know who are the flying monkeys who are just trying to talk to us to get information out of us to leak to the guy. Because that's what I found all the time. I would have private conversations with other women in the group about this man's behavior, and they would go to this guy and say, did you know Crystal's saying this about you? And so bad. So many people would do that. And so
I'm
then you
sorry,
just,
Crystal, you went through that. That's insane.
yeah, no, I mean, it's
It's
good because it's just like the AVMA. It's just like the veterinary profession. It's so similar to all of the harmful things. It's harmful family things. You have this scapegoat. I've always been the scapegoat in the family. Like, put all the blame on Crystal, you know, because she's the one willing to say the thing about what's actually happening.
I, I
And
I was the opposite. I was never the scapegoat, if
you're the
that
golden
helps. I'm sorry.
child.
I was the golden child, yeah, sadly. But it feels just as bad if you're a golden child who's
Yeah.
empathetic, because I remember having dreams of my mother punishing my sister, and I was like, ah,
Oh,
that's awful. She doesn't deserve that. So, you know, it's I guess that
yeah.
if it doesn't go well either way, but no, that's what it is.
Yeah. So
It's
what do you
it's
think we do? What should we do?
about
I
this.
yeah, about this problem in our movement. I just talk about it more like, hey, we have this hero worshiping problem, people being flying monkeys and people retaliating against people voicing concerns about leadership. Uh, let's stop doing that.
I also think we should name names. I hate to say it,
I
but
know.
naming names
I don't
does
want to get
help.
sued though. I don't want to like
I
get
get that.
dragged into a 3-year lawsuit like some people were.
I get that. That is sadly the situation. I don't know if there's any legal way to not get sued for it. You know, like maybe change the first letters. You know how not
Yeah.
Donald Trump but Donald Trump or something. You know, stuff like that. Donald Trump. Yeah, well, you get what I
But
mean.
it's also there's a freedom in not naming names because I I can just say what I experienced. And the way we experience life might not always be factual. And I'm not giving a fair representation of his experience.
Sure.
But if I don't name names, I can just freely say what my reality was. And I think that's more powerful than anything. And I
Yeah,
hope there's a
but
lot
don't
of
you
people
think
out
that
there who are doing the same things that he is doing. And I hope when people hear my story, they go like, is she talking about that guy or that guy? I want to validate their feelings.
I think like it's also important in situations like this to um, keep an open mind towards all the versions, I guess I want to say. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, because I don't know, like based on what I heard so far, from your point of view, it doesn't sound like you're in the wrong or anything. But when people break up, it's shitty for everybody, and certain people can seem like, well, I'm in the right, they're in the wrong or something. Like it's always when
Mhm.
breaks up it can lead that way, and people can feel entitled to seek revenge or for some form of revenge by saying some dumb shit or I don't know, behaving weirdly. But the thing about it is that I actually saw this one interesting video lately about men, and I kind of agree with it. I think that because we live in a patriarchal society and because we essentially kind of have power in almost every social situation that we're in, sadly, we lose the social power. We need to lose the social power. And in that sense, even if we would be in the wrong in some situations, because we have this power, we can't we have to form some form of equity, right? So um, if we're always in power, then when put in this situation, even if we might be in the right, maybe we should be in the wrong in this point, just so that we balance the scales a little bit. I don't know. That's kind of what I
Yeah.
understood the conclusion to be, even if it seems a little bit unfair and can seem, but that's the system we live in. Sadly, I don't like patriarchy, but I abide by it, I guess, right? I benefited from it.
Yeah.
So if it comes to a situation where I might be in the wrong, I hope it doesn't, because I'm genuinely a person who respects everybody. But if it does come to a situation like that, and but another point being a woman, I guess I do have a responsibility to kind of, well, obviously I need to defend myself, but never ever smear the other person, regardless if that other person is spewing lies about me or not, right? Like that's kind of how I see it more than anything.
Yeah, it's so hard. I don't know if like if you understand or like just how much women center men and how much uh the world revolves around men, like in relationships and everything, like how
Do
much
they?
yeah, like the woman is usually doing so much more to maintain the relationship and maintain connection than men are doing. Um,
Okay, I
and
can see that. Yeah.
yeah, and that's women are starting to decenter men, and that feels like there's this whole like male loneliness epidemic thing
Bear
happening.
versus man.
But yeah, but like, why isn't there a female loneliness epidemic? Like, what?
Because women are
What is?
more emotionally mature, as far as I understand. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the testosterone that goes through our veins more, and it makes us a little bit stupider at that kind of stuff. But there is a
Huh.
little bit of, like, you can't deny the fact that as a man, you're like, I personally did a lot of therapy and I grew a lot. But if you ask a lot of my past relationships, they'd say I was pretty immature, and yeah, I was pretty immature in a lot of situations. Um, and yeah, I just think it's, I don't think it's an excuse. I just think it's an explanation more than anything.
Yeah. Cool G
We're just,
says, not true. I've seen many unstable women. It's like, yeah, why are they unstable? And like, does the patriarchy make them unstable? Why there's a lot of women who are still, who, who don't make as much money as men, who like had children and weren't able to get a career and are still relying on a relationship with a man for housing and for living and everything like that. And that's the one thing we've got to teach women is like, be financially independent on your own. Do not have children young. Stand on your own feet. Don't rely on men. Don't decenter men. Be totally fine living alone and being single. It's actually really great. So
but that will not work unless we also teach men to not be men. It's hard to say, like unless we teach them that a man isn't a person who is like, stoicism is great and all, but you don't have to be a stoic. You can show emotions. A man don't have to not show
mhm.
emotions. You can show emotions, you can feel emotions. I feel like that's something that a lot of men, like the reason why depression a lot of the time comes is because of people hindering their
Yeah,
emotions, and then just they end up feeling almost nothing because, oh, you can't touch this, you can't touch this, and you can't touch this, because they all feel bad, and therefore you're just left with a place where you're like, well, what do I feel, because all the other stuff is tied to bad stuff. So yeah, we have to live in a society, I think, where gender roles need just dismantled. We're all just people. we're all just
yeah,
we all just feel what we feel. We all just live in a place where we're, I mean, I hated growing up as a man. I hated being told to be stoic. I don't like that. I don't like being stoic.
yeah.
Um, but yeah,
I don't know. It's weird because, like, even when I was growing up, like, I was shamed by my one parental figure for crying. I used to cry a lot as a kid. And I think
nice.
I was any sort of female characteristics were discouraged a lot, and it was like one of my
By
first
your parents.
friends was a boy, and we would like ride bikes together and motorcycles and stuff. And it was like male characteristics are celebrated, athleticism and all of it, and not crying and not being emotional. And but female characteristics of like caring and nurturing and showing emotion and all that stuff was not really rewarded very much. Um,
But, and to you,
so
what
yeah,
happened? Because I lived in the same world. It's just that what happened to me is it just pushed me more towards being emotional when I need to, but hide it. Like, be emotional but hide. Like, I just were emotional by, like, for example, I have very much difficulty crying in front of people every time. I can't cry in front of people almost. It's in my previous relationship, it took me a year and a half or something to be able to cry in front of somebody. But I do cry. I cry on my own. So all that happened is for me, well, emotions, it's fine to have them. And even with a lot of therapy, I learned that it's okay to have them. But I still have this pull where I'm like, I'm not going to have them in front of people. So
Yeah.
did the same happen to you, or did you go in the direction where I'm not even
No,
going to tackle it?
I think I am like very manly in a lot of ways, like don't show emotion, like always am the one, like
Stoic.
there's something going on, like I'm the one to handle the situation and, you know, take care of things. I feel very uncomfortable like receiving gifts or praise or anything like that. And I don't want to have to rely on anybody for anything. So, you know, it's
Yeah.
still like I think I've internalized a lot of that misogyny in a lot of ways, like not showing any sort of female characteristics of having to like be helped in any way, you know?
Ah, I don't know. Is that a female characteristic though? I don't know. Being helped.
Like being the princess who's rescued, like do not want to be that.
Yeah.
But you like if there's no princesses to rescue, then who's the prince gonna rescue, you know? I don't know.
I don't
Nobody's
know.
gonna help anybody.
I
We're
told
all like,
myself ever since I was 25, I don't care. I'll be a house husband, housewife, whatever. I don't care. I'm done with this whole game of who's who
yeah,
in a relationship. Honestly, the best relationships always work best when the balance always goes this way. If there's always just one person on top, it just never works out. It just
yeah.
never works out. Emotions have to be felt from both sides, and power has to be felt from both sides. So, but Crystal,
But
I want to
that's
ask. Yeah, go
little
on.
things though, like a man will always get some sort of vibe of like he's not being he'll just have this feeling like he's not being respected by his partner, or you know, because she's not. Men are so used to being fawned over that if somebody doesn't and
What
isn't
does it mean to fund
constantly
over?
reacting to like if they make a joke or something and it's not funny, if you don't force a laugh and acknowledge that they were trying to make a joke, or you know, then you're viewed as, oh, you're just too stuck up, you're just too this or too that, or you know, whatever.
I've
um
seen that. That's so fucked up.
yeah,
That is
like,
so
oh,
fucked up.
she's ignoring me, she's not paying attention to me. It's like uh, and but this is, you know, part of the thing you first said is like, oh, you seem very not interested in what other people are saying. It's like, yeah, I guess that's somewhat of the man in me too, of like,
But are you actually
I,
not interested, or is it
yeah, I'm
just a
absolutely not.
defense
And
mechanism?
maybe it might have originally come from some sort of defense mechanism of
Yeah,
who knows.
who knows? I get that, you know. I get that. I mean, it's very hard for me to judge life as a woman in a society that's mainly dominated by men. It's very hard for me to do that, and I've had the lucky opportunity of every partner I've ever had to remind me of the pitfall of what it is like to be a woman in a society. And I don't know. It's fucked up. It's just a fucked up society. Like I didn't. At 25 years old, I learned that women get touched in public transit, which was fucked up. Like I never realized that that happens to women. Like who does that? That's the most insane thing ever. So
Yeah.
it's a weird
Oh
thing.
God.
It's
Yeah, I remember being out in various situations with men, and it's like, oh, here's a man who's like approaching me and being weird and touching me, and the man I'm with is like not defending me, not being a man and sticking up for me, and it's like, oh, well, that's not cool. Or like the man who you're with, if he like walks ahead of you and like doesn't, like, dude,
but that's
you have
okay.
one job, you're the bigger dude here. Like, at, don't just like walk ahead and allow me to be accosted by these people.
Oh, I see what you
Or
mean.
like
That's
not ever,
unfortunate.
you know, defend my honor when somebody like touches me or like says something lewd about me. If a man's not going to do that, I don't know. Should a man even do? But I've talked
Yeah.
to other men who were like, you should stand up for yourself. Like,
That's what I think.
I,
So also,
that's
Crystal,
what you
I think
think.
like
The
physically
man's
not, physically not. Maybe physically, I have no issue with physically. I think physically, actually, to be honest, all my ex-girlfriends had such strong legs that they could just kick anybody. It was like no
Mhm.
problem. And that was pretty skinny. So I think physically I was still maybe not as strong, whatever. But physically, maybe a man theoretically should be able to defend a woman because they're in that situation, because they're physically stronger. But otherwise, if somebody says something bad, it's kind of weird for me to intervene and about somebody and be like, hey, don't say that about her. Like, she can defend herself, and if she doesn't, I'll say it then afterwards, but I'm gonna give her opportunity to defend herself.
Well, but here's the thing. Like, if like I'm like walking or like, and somebody says something lewd or approaches me, just like even approaches and gets too close and says something, I'm just gonna like turn away and ignore. It's not even worth my time. But it would be nice if the man that I was with would be like, hey, bro, back the fuck off. Like, be like a big brother and like put your other fellow man in line. Like, that should be your, like, keep your gender in check. And
Every time I
let him
did
know
that,
what's
Crystal, I got
inappropriate.
beaten up. I got really beaten
By
up
the other
every time I
dude.
did by the other dude. Yeah, always.
Oh,
It's just always. I got
well,
beaten up at least 3 times, and I just learned that it's best. You know what? When somebody says something shitty, hey, I'm
interesting.
sorry you're going through that. There are shitty people. Let's just move on and ignore them. But
Yeah.
I guess I get shitty
There,
remarks also, but not as much as a woman for sure. Yeah.
well, I think, there are certain men that we've talked about in the animal rights movement, I think purposefully goes after women who don't have big brothers who are going to kick his ass.
That's
It
a
would be
very
nice
fucked up.
if
Yeah. Yeah.
if one day some woman who he was pursuing had and who finally caught on to his game had a dad or a big brother who would go kick his ass and put him in line. But again, I also think he would kind of love that because he loves to play the victim and he loves to get in
Uh,
fights and all of that stuff. So who knows?
oh
But I
God.
think a lot of the problems in this world are because other men don't keep other men in line too. And maybe you're not the strong guy who can kick his ass, but if there's people out there who can kick ass, start doing it.
I
Start using.
believe I'm
Yeah.
all for using words
Yeah.
and removing gender. I have no problem removing the whole thing of gender. I don't care. Dress as however you want, be whoever you want, respect whoever they want to be, and don't catcall anybody, whether man or woman. It's not nice. And
Yeah.
it doesn't serve anybody. Like, what the hell does catcalling even help to do? Or, let's just respect
It
people's autonomy.
it's just a way to like show your power over somebody or that you can judge a person. Like you have the power to say who's beautiful and who's not and whatever. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're the judge of whatever. Okay. I don't know, like some of the assholes in this chat too saying weird
There
things.
are
I don't know.
assholes
I'm
also in
just
this
making
chat.
it
I
up.
saw
Yeah.
that. It's okay. It's okay. It's don't the chat. There's assholes also in the chat. Don't worry about that. But I saw somebody say like, maybe you should listen. Wait, that was kind of. Wait, if you expect him to defend you, then listen to him when he asks you to dress modestly.
I
Fuck you,
do dress
man.
modestly all the time. Like that's my go-to is I cover up because I'm always cold. So I don't know what you're talking about. But
Dress
why
however you
I don't
want,
know
Crystal. Fuck
anybody
these guys. Dress as
I
modestly or as not modestly as you want. You don't have to like do we really want to live in a society where people have to dress up because ooga booga cannot answer ooga booga woman? I got a cat call or
yeah.
something. No, just
Nobody
behave.
in my life
Jesus
has
Christ.
ever asked me to dress more modestly. So that's a weird thing. I don't know what kind of everybody's different, I guess.
Yeah, everybody's different. Anyway, Crystal, let's get to those 5 questions because I think we
Okay.
got to the gender thing, and I appreciate the conversation, but I also want to respect your time, and I know So it's just 5 questions here.
Cool.
What is the argument against veganism that you dislike the most?
Oh, that I dislike the most. I guess like dislike arguing the most. I guess it's the health one because it's so hard because like people are either going to believe you or not. Like you can say you can be healthy on an animal-free diet all you want, people aren't going to believe it. You know,
So like
until they
when
like
people bring up that they can't be
people like,
healthy on a
yeah, I
plant-based diet.
tried to go vegan, but I just didn't feel good on it. And I felt so much better when I had animal products. It's like, how do you refute that? It's like, I was so much healthier when I had animal products. So it's like,
What was that guy that said that he had salmon and he had an erection at night or something? What was it? Oh my God, that was so
I don't
stupid.
know.
There was somebody who was a former vegan and he said that he had an animal product and that night he had such an erection or something because that's how it works. You start eating animal
Yeah.
products and instantly everything changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I'll agree with you on that one. The health one is, although it's a pretty easy to
Yeah.
debunk one, right? If you bring empirical data.
I don't know. What do you say to that? What do you say to the just like, oh, I don't know.
Crystal,
You can say I'm vegan. What?
I'm a certified nutritionist. I bring in the card, the authority card.
Okay.
That's why I became a certified nutritionist, so that I can use that card. So
Okay.
I'm a certified nutritionist, but you don't have to trust me. We have empirical data that says we can thrive on a plant-based diet, and we have
Maybe
anecdotal evidence
can,
also.
but I can't. I tried. I can't.
Yeah. So you're biologically different somehow. You're not human.
Yeah.
Are you human?
Yeah. Or like I'm allergic to soy and legumes, so it's really hard for me, to get all the nutrients I need on an animal-free diet.
Tim Schiff, that was the guy.
Yeah.
Drank his own piss too. Jesus Christ. Those are the people. Okay. What is your favorite vegan dish nowadays? Maybe because it's easy, maybe because it's delicious, or maybe because it's both.
I just love what I make for breakfast every morning, which is a smoothie with berries and soy milk and chia seeds and protein powder and matcha and peanut butter and mix it all up. And it keeps me going for like half the day because it's like 1,000 calories and it's like 50 grams of protein. So it's like all I need. And whenever I go on vacation and I can't have that, I don't feel as good. So that's my favorite.
You have a 1,000 calorie smoothie in the morning?
I actually haven't calculated the calories. Okay. It's probably not 1,000 calories because it's just like, like 3 cups of soy milk. It's like berries and a couple tablespoons of peanut butter and chia seeds and the protein powder. So it's probably not 1,000 calories.
600, 700 something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I'm afraid to start the day with a lot of calories because then I want to have a lot of calories left to eat in the evening.
Yeah. Well, I have to do surgery and it's usually like 4 hours of surgery. So I can't eat during that. And I usually get hungry pretty regularly. So that keeps me going throughout that. Somebody says, doesn't protein powder have animal milk? Like, hello, welcome to the chat. Like, no, it's Orgain. I use Orgain. And I know, I guess it has lead in it. I don't know. Not the worst.
I had Orgain in US. Yeah.
Yeah.
The vanilla one?
I guess has the most lead in it.
Does it? I have so much Huel.
Okay. Huel? Oh my God, it's the worst. Like there's this Consumer Reports thing. Like you are probably have lead poisoning. Don't drink Huel. It's so bad.
Damn it. I like that. Wait, okay, let me look in.
But it'll keep your engine from knocking. It'll keep you from getting knocked up.
Yeah. Maybe the protein bars are not that bad. I don't know.
Look at the thing. Consumer
Yeah, look into from Consumer Reports. Okay. Consumer Reports. I wrote down almost a page of stuff we discussed today. I appreciate that. Okay. What is your opinion, the worst logical fallacy that most carnists make?
Logical fallacy. Like the one that I get a lot is like ad hominem attacks against me. Those are always fun, but those are, yeah, that's usually the worst. When you're just attacking somebody's character, it's like, no, attack me, attack what I'm saying, not my character. So
Oh,
yeah,
Crystal, I got so much of that. Yeah.
what's
I
your
mean,
least favorite logical fallacy?
appeal to nature. I think it's the
Oh,
one
yeah.
destroying the world. I think it's not just for veganism. I think it's just destroying the whole world today, appealing to nature. It's just making everything worse.
Yeah, it's weird because like nothing we're doing is natural to them.
Exactly.
Like
And
this
that's,
is,
I mean, the appeal to, like, the whole gender thing is also an appeal to nature, isn't it? The biological organic agriculture is an appeal to nature. Eating clean is an appeal to nature. All of it is just annoying me because none of it means you're going to be healthy or it's going to be better. So just stop. So, you know, if that would stop, I think we could progress so much. I'm for GMOs. I dislike the fact that we're not using more GMOs because GMOs are very logical in producing more. Yeah, GMOs, you know, the what was it? Precision fermentation, lab-grown meat, all of it will eventually save our world. We will be better for everybody. Like, but I
yeah.
think people are just too stuck in this appeal to nature. Like, lab-grown meat has been forbidden all across European Union now. And have you heard about the fact that in European Union, our producers, I actually want to discuss this with you. I'm sorry to bring it up so late, that they're forbidding the naming of products as burgers, chicken, and all of this for plant-based.
The European Union is what now? They're forbidding us from calling burgers chicken and stuff like that.
Yeah, from calling plant-based chicken, from calling burgers, plant-based burgers, sausages, and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, there's like 5 of them or 6 of them.
That's so frustrating how they've won and we are not pushing back on this. There's just not enough of us, but whatever. Maybe we could dismantle consumer trust and confidence in burgers and sausage and all these things.
I guess what my idea was to just get people to name it something else that tastes even better, and then make laws for animal agriculture to not allow to use that term or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I just think milk should be lacteal secretions or mammary secretions.
Mammary secretions. I love it.
Coconut milk was a thing before cow milk. What, which came
Titty
first,
juice.
coconut milk or Exactly.
If we have to call it oat drink, they should call it titty drink.
Okay.
Sorry. Okay. If you could pick one person in the world to make vegan instantly, which one would you choose? It could be a family member. It could be a
Joe
friend.
Rogan.
It could be a public speaker.
Joe Rogan, 100%.
That's a very good one. I think.
Yeah.
I always say Mr. Beast, but Joe Rogan might be better, actually, now that I think about it. How many followers does Joe Rogan have?
Oh, God, he's got so many millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions. Yeah.
Damn it. Okay. So is he more influential than Mr. Beast? Mr. Beast has 400 million subscribers. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, really? Let's see. Yeah. I've never watched Mr. Beast's show, so that's why I'm not really. He's got 446 million subscribers. Oh my God. Wow.
Mr. Beast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's see what.
And the iShowSpeed is also highly influential. I guess you don't know about all of
Joe
these.
Rogan's only got 20.3 million subscribers. Who's the other one?
I'm thinking iShowSpeed.
iShowSpeed? Okay.
Yeah.
44.8 million. I don't even know iShowSpeed at all.
It's insane, Crystal. Like, this guy, iShowSpeed, comes to every country where he travels, and there's a bunch of people, like hundreds of people, that just flood the streets to see him. It's insane.
Oh my God. I saw this guy, I think, in Hollywood. And I was literally in Hollywood and walking around, and then everybody's like, "Oh, this big influencer is here, blah blah blah,"
Oh
and
yeah,
everybody was like crowding the streets, and I'm like, "Who is this guy? I've never heard of him before."
have you
And they're
met
like,
him?
"Yeah, like he walked by, and I didn't even know who he was, and I have him on video, but yeah,
You
and
should have
it's
interacted
these,
with him because he's got 40 million subscribers. If you get a chance to interact with this person when he's live, they're like 200,000 people watching at the same time. So even if you just yell "be vegan," it's still
yeah."
400, 200,000 people just hearing that.
I'll see if there's a live stream, if he was going live when he was in
No,
Hollywood, if I can find that stream or something.
he's done with the streams in the US now. He does these
Oh,
streams. Yeah, I don't know if he does it once or twice a year where he travels, and um, I'm hoping he does it in Amsterdam and he sees me ever with a social experiment. He wants to try it because he does these type of things where he tries stuff. But yeah,
interesting. Wow. Huh. Okay, well, I'm glad I figured out who that guy is then.
there you go.
Cool.
We learned something. Yeah, kids watch him. I don't watch him. I only watch as he goes into the public, and it fascinates just how much people are obsessed with
It's
him.
weird how people respond. Like everybody's got their phones out and is freaking out.
Speed, and people go. So he's got
Yeah.
this thing online where he goes, he barks at people, and there's people on the street who end up barking at him. Like, it's just so messed up, Crystal. This is the society we live in. This
And this
person is one of the most famous person in the world. He walks along and people just go woof, woof, woof to him. It's just so funny to watch. It's like watching Idiocracy. I swear to God,
yeah.
it's so funny.
And this is who gets the clicks and who gets the attention. Like me trying to explain what ventilation shutdown is doesn't get any, retweets or anything,
No,
or
no,
explain
no.
H5N1 and how it's a threat to us all. Nobody cares.
I mean, in all fairness, I'm not going to be a dick towards speed. Like, I think his cause, he doesn't have like a moral cause to say per se, or fighting for something and what it is, but he did work a lot for where he's at. So I'll at least give him props for that. It's not one of
Yeah.
those nepo babies who ended up in that situation. So there's at least that, we can at least appreciate that about him.
Yeah. It takes work every day to put out content, even if it's bad content. It takes work.
Agree. And the last question, Crystal. How do you envision a vegan world? Mm-hmm. And that's always a difficult question how to explain. Like, what is it in a vegan world that you think is the most important part of it? Like, what would you like to see in this vegan world, or what would you like to describe if you could only describe one thing from a vegan world?
Just like no abuse of power. Like there's just, people are not worried about being retaliated against for, nobody's going without, like healthcare is covered because we were no longer subsidizing the industry. All animals receive healthcare. All people receive healthcare because we're not wasting so many resources on trying to treat these diseases that are in factory farmed animals. Like just the amount of resources and food that can go around, our food security is so much better. And everybody's eating healthier diets, and how much better that is. And people have respect and love for animals. And there's just not this callousness that is incentivized in society. So veterinarians are free to like treat wild animals. So many people want to go to vet school because they're like, I want to care for wild animals, but then they're like, oh, there's no jobs in that because nobody cares. They're not profitable. But imagine if healthcare is all subsidized because we're no longer throwing away billions of dollars towards animal agriculture. We can have veterinarians making sure populations of wild animals are healthy and happy and not suffering. And how much fun that would be. People can just go live in nature and make art, and there's not this like scarcity mindset that we currently have because we are all about exploiting those with less power. Hope that makes sense. This is all connected.
It is.
Yeah.
I'd like to believe that in a vegan world that happens. Yeah. I guess I'd like to believe that.
Yeah, people can pursue their dreams and their passions without having to work a job that they hate. No.
Yeah, I don't think that's related to veganism anymore,
I think
though.
it is. I think because we just dismantle this idea that like it's all about pursuing money because that's how you live in this world, and people instead are just pursuing their dreams and caring for animals because people naturally just have this desire to care for others, but that is because we incentivize callousness. That is stifled. You're viewed as unrealistic if you want to care for others. Like now it's unrealistic to have a family and have babies, and you know but that's people go out of their way to ruin their lives to like take in stray dogs and cats on the street, and like that's extra work you have to do. That's not going to be a benefit, but yet people still do it because that's human nature, and we just need to align with nature a little bit better.
Love it. I
Yeah.
appreciate your time, Crystal.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Do you want to respond to some people's questions in the chat? Guys, do you have some quick
Sure.
quick questions? And otherwise, let's just end it. I'm also getting tired. I saw somebody do outreach with Crystal on the street.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm in the US, maybe we can do it. That would be cool. I would love to see.
Yeah,
Like,
go
I
to
think
Western
would be
University or UC Davis and do the best.
yeah. And we could have a good approach because I'm more of a logical person with the philosophical, logical stuff, and you could be with the practical approach to logical, practical approach. Yeah. So
food security, viruses, that sort of thing. That's what I talk about. You can talk about the ethics and the morality and that thing.
When will she do activism with you? I don't know. So when, Crystal, are you coming to Amsterdam?
I'd love to sometime. I thought it'd be fun. I want to. What's the best time of year to go to Amsterdam? I haven't been to Europe in forever.
What do you mean by best? Do you mean best as in
like
cheapest? Best as
the warmest, I guess.
Oh, Amsterdam. Summer. And summer is from June to August.
June to August.
I don't mean it. Okay. Yeah, I don't mean like you live in LA, and I've seen the weather in LA. Like we get that only from June to August in Amsterdam. Yeah. The rest of the time it's half that temperature most of the time.
Has she had any success in getting fellow vets to embrace plant-based pet foods? Yes, absolutely. Once you just show them the science of it and how harmful animal-based foods are, people just need to like be shown. All vets need is proof that there is evidence in studies and that these foods meet WASAVA guidelines and all of these things, and I've gone through trials. And yeah, and honestly, though, plant-based foods, there's been more research into a lot of these diets than animal-based foods, but we are still lacking like those really good studies over a long period of time where like blood work is checked and all of this stuff. But we don't even hold meat-based foods to that high standard. But it would be nice if we could have those studies.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you wanna answer? Millions of bees are killed for avocados.
Yeah, I don't think avocados are vegan. We need to make more humanely grown avocados for sure.
Here you go.
And humane avocados for the win. Everybody should grow their own avocado trees so that they don't have to exploit bees. So
I actually don't buy avocado, so
yeah,
I'm safe.
Avocados aren't vegan. You won that one, dude. Congratulations.
Thank you for being here, Crystal.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Where can people follow you? Where can people find you?
I'm most active on X, Elon Musk's platform. Sorry. So Dr. Crystal Heath, I think it's Dr. Crystal Heath, and on Instagram and on Red Note and on Facebook and TikTok and YouTube, Dr. Crystal Heath, and also follow our Honor Vets. That's my organization. And if you want to volunteer or donate to our Honor Vets, reach us reach out to us through there. You can also email info@ourhonor.org if you want to volunteer with us. We could really use your help. But if you don't have time to volunteer and you want to support, donate. So ourhonor.org/donate is how you can donate. And yeah, thank you so much.
What can an activist do? Sorry, what can an volunteer do?
Oh, does Crystal ever see herself at slaughterhouses? Yes, I do. I'm applying right now to the USDA to work as an inspector, but I regularly go to the slaughterhouse and film and rescue chickens from the slaughterhouse too. So
hell yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned if somebody wants to volunteer, what can the volunteers do? Like, what can somebody expect if they want to be a volunteer or not?
We have so many things. So if you're a writer, we need press releases written. If you can't write, we need our press releases emailed out. If you can do social media, making graphics, or just liking, sharing, commenting, or retweeting our social media is really helpful. Writing FOIA requests, which is really easy. Just copy and paste and then send off to the various agencies. Editing videos, telling your veterinary colleagues about us, tagging veterinarians in our social media content is really helpful. Going and doing your own on-the-ground investigations, following all the rules and not trespassing, and don't get into any legal trouble because we have no legal support whatsoever. But if you want to take pictures and send them to us, that's really helpful too. If you speak, if you are an extrovert and you're a project manager, leading meetings and taking on a project and making sure people follow up with their tasks is really important. And so even if you have no skills, but you can speak and you can ask people, hey, did you do this? We can use your help. So there's so many things you can do. So join us.
Okay. Well, that's it then.
Oh. Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
It was a lovely conversation, Crystal. Yeah. I enjoyed it. Have an awesome time, everybody. I'll see you in the next one. I'll see you tomorrow, everybody. I'm going to do outreach tomorrow again in front of Anne Frank's museum.
Are you going to make some unseemly Holocaust comparisons?
Yes, I am. We're going to make not Holocaust comparison, but like that's discrimination. And why is that discrimination bad? And is discrimination based on how somebody's born bad? Yes. Well, isn't that what we're doing to animals, discriminating based on how they're born?
Because you can make the what was done to Romanian people analogy just fine. Just don't make the women used to don't make the women analogy. No, I'm kidding. We should have had that debate of why you shouldn't talk about women's suffrage as a man.
I don't think it's a problem, but yeah, maybe we should have that debate at some point. We have a lot of stuff to debate, Crystal, and discuss together. I feel like, because I think we also have the horses thing we should discuss, but never got to discuss
riding horses thing.
Yeah.
Do I feel like getting canceled by the vegans? Maybe.
No. But I appreciate you being here, Crystal. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for all the supporters. Thank you, Mark J, for the donation. I appreciate you. And as I said, I'll see you guys in the next one. And I posted the link where to subscribe to Crystal. I'll send you a request for people, and it's a pity that on live you cannot be collaborator, but I'll send you a request to be a collaborator, Crystal, so that people can follow you directly from there. Thank you so much, everybody. See you later.
People still don't know what women's suffrage is. Wow, this is the world we live in.
Yeah, Google it, Smartacus.
Google it.
It's easy, or use ChatGPT if you can't do that.